I will be discussing only the first 2 episodes of this game as that's all that's released so far. I will be taking your hand through the game and talking about the specifics, mythos, and theories. I will only be mentioning things in chronological order. That means don't get too whiny if I don't mention something yet. This will not be a biased video either. I will mention each theory and the reasoning for them because a lot of things in this game so far are up for interpretation. So, let me take you through the game and let's begin. Ah, what's this? A character named Andy. Well, obviously he's reluctant to do something a girl named Leyley told him to do. Just go over and do something. A friend of yours, you say? Oh. Looks like somebody woke up. Good morning, Ashley. This is one of the 2 main protagonists in the game. Her character traits consist of being codependent, manipulative, unempathetic, carefree, and playful. Now, you're feeling awfully hungry, aren't you? Well, it's time to go find something to eat. After searching around for a bit, and by that I mean digging through your trash supply, you find a perfect can of tomatoes. Huh, you should go ahead and show that to your brother. Ta-da! Well, he doesn't seem too happy. Now that you can see him, this is Andrew, the other protagonist of the game. His character traits consist of being emotionally vulnerable, melancholic, irritable, sardonic, and again, codependent. Now, back to the game. Why is he seemingly so agitated about this discovery? Why wouldn't you want to eat? He goes on to say that this is the last thing we have. Very interesting. So, without straying too far ahead, the siblings are in this apartment starving. Now that you hear that, you might ask, why? Why don't they go out and buy some? They're both grown-ass adults, so why wouldn't they? Or where are their finances? Or maybe you're just sitting there wondering what type of scenario this could be. Well, you'll find out in just a second. Now, after discovering that Andrew hid the tomatoes on purpose so then you wouldn't rush to eat them, you convince him to eat some with you. And Andrew, seeing no way out of this, agrees. Well, time to go cook up some tomatoes and... Oh. A warden's at our door. He states that if someone doesn't answer, he'll assume they're dead, and that means no food. So, now we have another hint at the predicament we're in. We are inside a controlled environment in which we are handed the basic necessities and we don't have the freedom to get them ourselves. I wonder why. We exclaim that they don't even bring it for the living tenants anyways, but the warden just blames it on the delivery people. Seeing their situation though, can we really trust this officer's word? Well, he ran off now, so it's back to boiling tomatoes. It's bland, but we're so hungry that What the hell is that music? The neighbor's at it again? Well, this is awfully annoying, so why don't we go check out what's causing all the ruckus? After a shelf breaks in your unstable apartment, you're able to cross the balcony over to the neighbor's door. Now just what the hell could be going on in here? The hell is this shit? Occultist weirdo, huh? Not what I was expecting. After observing his failure to seemingly complete a ritual, you decide to just kind of mind your own business. After all, it's his hobby. Well, isn't it about time they let us watch television anyways? So, after you get back inside, you discover that the remote is dead, and Andrew can't fathom the thought of actually getting up to change the channel himself because he's that much of a couch potato. So, we go fetch batteries for him and then proceed to change it by hand anyways just to spite him. Now, let's see what's going on. They're talking about a scenario named the tainted water situation, and it seems like 53 overall have perished from this incident. We then learn that we have to stay even longer as they've extended our quarantine period for another 2 weeks. Judging by Andrew's reaction, this is not the first delay either. The person on the television then thanks everyone in quarantine for quote-unquote keeping your disgusting, parasite-infested bodies far, far away from me. Andrew, evidently frustrated, decides to head to bed. And on that note, Ashley does too. Huh? A dream? A memory? What could this be? Our mom seems to be going somewhere away from us. A hotel. Ashley tries to say that we can't leave because of the tainted water situation, but is cut off by her mom stating that she doesn't have to stay because she never drank any water from the system. It cuts further to the future where a nurse is giving us shots with a needle. It hurts pretty damn badly too. Andrew asks how long we have to stay, and the nurse states that the tests will be done tomorrow, and if all is well, they can go. However, if not, she says then we'll get to see what happens. Then now, the nurse takes her leave. Another cut into the future, and Ashley is on the phone with her mother. She asks for Ashley to stop calling her because she can't do anything for her anymore. She also accuses the siblings of lying about starving there as well. Mom says that Ashley has nothing to complain about because she just gets to laze around all day. Then, Mom says not to call her anymore because she won't pick up. After, she says her goodbye and that she's sorry. Then the memory fades and we wake up. So, before moving on, there's a decent amount to decipher so far. Firstly, we finally get to see where our parents parents went. They left the house seemingly because they don't want to be quarantined in with their own children for whatever reason. The reason will be discussed later in the video. The next thing to talk about is the nurse. We can assume based off of what we know so far that the nurse is taking samples of the siblings' blood for testing related to the tainted water situation. We can also assume they quote unquote failed this test and had to stay in the apartment indefinitely. Lastly, we also discover that mom does not want anything to do with us anymore and wishes for the relationship to be kept distant. Now, back to the game. After waking up, Ashley decides to go on ahead and do some chores because she may as well. Andrew warns us to not overdo it, and thus you fix the bookshelf, mop up the floors, and do some laundry. Oh, oops. It's seeming like you may have overdone it. Yep, you overdid it. Look who's awake. You wake up on the couch with the television back on and Andrew next to you. Good news, huh? There's been a shortage of supplies in the quarantined households, however, it's been fixed. Did it really though? Well, obviously not. So they could be doing some sort of cover-up to protect the public image, maybe? The narrator then advises the audience to not visit the apartments, no matter if it's friends, loved ones, or anything. If you don't comply, you might be shot. And on that annoying-ass note, we drift back to bed. You then wake up to Andrew on the phone with somebody. Whoever is talking on the other end seems quite upset. Andrew says that he can't do anything about it and that he can try talking to her. Does he mean us? Andrew keeps getting cut off and gets seemingly frustrated. Always about, you don't, it's something to do with Ashley. She's had time to think and can't anymore. So that's it. Andrew doesn't seem too bothered and just says, all right, I guess, and we can assume that this is a significant other of some sort. Or was, I suppose now. Andrew decides to keep beating a nail in a coffin and says sorry with a seemingly careless attitude and says that he doesn't really see why whatever the issue is his fault. Then this lady hangs up. Who was it? Ah, so we were correct about it being a partner. Ashley doesn't seem to care all that much and almost asks why she dumped him in a mocking way. Judging off of Andrew's reaction, I think we can assume that Ashley is the reason why the relationship didn't work, and he seems quite upset about it now. Ashley decides to kind of beat a dead horse and say maybe that she broke up with him because he's stuck in quarantine, or that she found someone new. There's also another line in this statement that gives us a hint at how long they've been in this apartment for. At least a few months. Maybe she didn't even like you. Yeah. Ashley just goes on to really rub it in, clearly not reading the room, and Andrew decides to just walk it off over to the balcony. Then you go to bed. You wake up later on and decide to go check on him. You find him out on the balcony looking at someone getting hauled into an ambulance. People scream and scream from the balconies that they're starving and need help too, but as this happens, the ambulance speeds off. Can't believe whoever it was actually got help. It's hard to guess what could have happened to her. Andrew called for help when Ashley fainted earlier, but nothing came. So what could possibly make them want to help this specific person? Maybe she went into labor. Ashley brings up the idea of getting pregnant by the guy next door to get out of here, but Andrew becomes very defensive and strongly advises against it. She claims she was just exploring the idea, calls him a jackass, and wants to tell him that it shouldn't be any of his business anyways. However, she just lacks the energy to argue anymore and leaves it at that. Now, you go to bed and wake up to Andrew trying to kick the front door down, again apparently. However, Ashley mentions that's barricaded in, so now we know that they really can't just leave out the front door. Trying to kick in the door doesn't work, and the warden comes by to tell them to stop or else they won't get food. He also says that the delivery will be here in a few hours anyways. However, fast forward a few hours and nothing is delivered. Andrew attempts to have a conversation and asks about the parasites. Ashley states the only thing she feels is hunger. Andrew brings up a couple of good points by saying that if you think they were infected, something would be happening to them by now, and for some reason the nurse never came back to monitor the siblings, which seems like a reasonable thing to do. Ashley states that it's whatever at this point and staying in this apartment isn't the worst thing in the world. Andrew disagrees strongly and states that this situation makes him want to kill himself. Ashley says he'll race him, which gives us our first happy shot of Andrew in this entire game so far. And as eager as Ashley is to do it, Andrew decides to pass. Andrew says committing suicide together is too romantic, and the idea of two bodies piling together in a tangled, gory mush is just too intimate of an idea for him. Ashley says that we may as well since they've been stuck in here for so long, and Andrew tells her that he's not jumping off and that's final. He tells her to get her head checked, which is ironic considering the entire rambling he just had about romanticizing suicide. He claims that romance and romantic aren't the same thing, and what he was trying to say was... God damn it, again? It's starting to get... Well, that's different this time. You head on over to peer into the door and see a strange entity in the center of the room. The entity asks what the human has to offer, although he came empty-handed. As a result, the entity takes his life as an offering and goes away, leaving the corpse of the cultist as all that is left behind. So before we go further down this strange rabbit hole, let's go over what we know so far. The siblings are kept in an apartment due to the tainted water situation, which is vaguely described as people infected by parasite-ridden waters. But forementioned, it's not necessarily told exactly what this is really. Can we even trust them? Is this incident even real? Ignoring the answer at the moment, we also learned that our mother has left us here willingly and doesn't want to even see or talk to her children anymore. And thus they are left alone in a quarantine where everything is controlled, and not only is it out of their capabilities, but it's also a very corrupted system as well. Not to mention the ambulance outside that just seemingly took somebody away for some reason, even though they seem unwilling to help the tenants usually. What makes that instance different than Ashley passing out or the tenants damn near starving to death? Another thing to talk about is how the siblings are obviously a little fucked up mentally, but not enough to really say indefinitely yet. For all we know, it could just be dark humor or something, but it does raise a couple eyebrows. There is also the whole situation with the weird cultist neighbor who just got killed directly in front of us. We sit there obviously shocked at what we just saw, and we ask ourselves, was this actually real? But regardless of the answer, she just really wants to go in there and turn off that CD player. Andrew wonders about how that's the only thing we're worried about. Damn right. I'd want to die if I had to listen to this shit all day too. Andrew says that this is a good opportunity to go in and see if he has anything to eat. Burglary time. You break through the door of the window with an ashtray and head on in. I immediately turned off the music because it pisses me off, and then we walk over to the body. That's a lot of meat, we think to ourselves. Oh, out loud apparently. Andrew wonders if it's still illegal if we didn't kill the guy. Is what illegal, Andrew? Oh, you mean eating him, huh? Now Andrew asks us, isn't that what we were insinuating anyways? Nah, we would never insinuate anything like that. We were just making an observation. Andrew goes on to say that it might not even be worth it, because if they eat the guy and they find out, then it's wraps. But they never really gave us anything to eat though, so could this be an exception? Andrew goes on to ask if they'd even admit it if they didn't, claiming a demon killed the man won't hold up in court. Regardless of the future, the real decision is if we're really going to pull through with this or not. Well, I guess so. Well, on that note, we're bright and full of energy, and it's time to go find something to casually butcher the guy with. Andrew isn't as enthusiastic though. You pick up a meat cleaver off the counter and get to business. I don't think it really matters which we chop off first considering the situation, so I'll just go with the right arm first and the left one second. Well, if we were to carry him out in the open, we'd get caught red-handed, so let's go get some plastic bags to carry him over in. I'm counting on you, Andy. He doesn't seem too pleased about being called that. So we run back over, grab some plastic bags, and then come back over ready to bag up all the guy's body parts piece by piece. Doesn't seem like the torso is gonna fit. Hold on a second, let's try something. Ta-da! Aw, Andrew tells us not to make him laugh at this. I don't have the power to make you do anything, Andrew. Side note, quotes like this are going to be very important in the summaries of each episode. So, you head on over, stuff the pieces in the freezer, and get to cooking the, right arm. Sure, why not? So Andrew asks us what exactly we're eating here, and we tell him pure deliciousness. As you're chowing away, Andrew is very hesitant to take a bite of his first human. Ashley demands him not to waste this because, you know, it's human meat and they just butchered a man for it. Andrew begins retching at his first bite of human, but Ashley doesn't allow anything other than him swallowing all of his meal. After being practically force-fed, he's got no choice but to swallow it. So, how do you like it? He goes on to say, It's what? God, we hate picky eaters. We made this shit with love. Andrew, slowly but eventually, finishes it all. We call Andrew a good boy for finishing all his meal, and he just tells us to fuck off. Andrew volunteers to clean up and Ashley asks what seasonings to use next time. Coriander it is, and off to bed we go. Before that though, I'm gonna talk to Andrew one more time. If we ever get out of here, we need to get our head checked? I may be speaking too far into the future for now, but I think these two both need a shit ton of help, not just Ashley. Now, we actually head to sleep this time. Oh boy, another flashback, huh? Here we have Leyley telling Andy that somebody likes him. Now, I haven't clearly stated it yet, but I'm almost positive that you guys are smart enough to put two and two together. That being Andy and Leyley is just Andrew and Ashley when they were younger. Now, who exactly is this girl? It was a friend of hers from school, and she asks if he's gonna accept. He obviously declines considering he's never met the girl before, and Leyley is ecstatic about this answer. He's our brother, nobody else's. Now, I'm gonna summarize this more at the end, but here we can see just how long Ashley's codependence has really been going on for. Now, back to the possessiveness. Leyley threatens to make her think twice before stealing from somebody else. She comes up with the great idea to lock her in a box inside an old warehouse. Andy goes, yeah, sure we are. Then he brings up the fact that mom gave us grocery money to go get some groceries with. We hit him to stay back on topic though. Focus, Andy. She is completely serious about this and is already planning the situation out. Let's leave her there all night. Andy suggests to maybe not. Hey, maybe if you go ask her to hang out, we can trick her into coming over to the warehouse. Andy really doesn't want to. But Mom said you'd help us with anything. Andy brings up how we called her one of our friends earlier, but I think we've changed our mind. Side note, does this dialogue sound familiar? We saw this conversation at the beginning of the game. Well, Andy just says that we're gonna get in trouble. We claim that we'll just let her out when she promises not to tattle on us. Do it, Andy. I guess there's no way out of it with this girl. Hooray, you're just the best, Andy. Today's episode is titled Andy and Leyley and the Bitch in the Box. Andy tells us that one day we'll be the bitch in the box, and people will take turns pissing on our grave. Now, what are we supposed to do about all these hussies around Andrew? Where do you even learn this language from? You're like 8. So, cut forward and Andrew actually brings the girl to the warehouse where Leyley is waiting. Did you tell your mom that you were coming? She thinks you're studying with Julia? Good. We'll see who Julia is later. Anyways, let's head on inside the warehouse. Oh, is it really that dusty? Nina goes on to complain about her so-called asthma. We do not give a fuck. Alright, let's play some hide and seek. She'll count first. While she's counting, let's find the perfect box to shove her into. What about this one? This one looks good, although there's no lock. Why wouldn't we want to lock her in, Andy? We could place a stick between the holes? Potential. Oh, she's done counting. Time to hide. I guess we'll just end up using that, huh? So, you think she's pretty? Andy calls her fine, but this is not a satisfying answer for us. Oh well, wallowing in jealousy got cut short and she caught us, so let's have Andrew count next. Now, let's lead this bitch to her crate. Come on, I know a good spot. Come on in, you'll fit just fine. Bad idea? Yeah, whatever. He's finished counting, so you better hurry up. Alright, perfect. Let's jump up and hold her down. She's too weak to throw us off, too. She screams and screams for us to let her out, but honestly, we don't care. Seems like she's having trouble breathing. She's fine, and stop asking if she's alright or not. And he keeps insisting to let her out, but why? Is it because he likes her better than us? Everyone likes her better. I bet he wants a girlfriend just so then he doesn't have to spend time with us anymore. Andy tries to say something, but we just can't believe him. I bet you only hang out with us because Mom said for you to. It's not fair. We're loud, weird, annoying, and everyone hates us. Oh, you say you like us better, Andy? Then prove it. God, of course you won't. Our own brother doesn't even pick us over her. Sure, you said it, but talk is cheap. You have to prove it. There we go. Are we happy now? Oh yeah, we are very happy now. Just until morning, for sure. You're the best, Andy. Let you out? Psh, nah, we'll come get her in the morning. Huh. And now Andrew's trying to wake us up. Before that, another dissection of another memory. Andy and Leyley, which seem to be the original nicknames for the two siblings, have a murder under their belt apparently. I don't really have to beat around the bush for this one. It's obviously implied that she's gonna die inside that box, and she indeed does. Not only do we get a glimpse of this horrendous crime, which we will see more of later, we also see just how manipulative Ashley really has been. She pulled out every single effective card to try and win over Andrew's heart. The self-deprecation, the doubt that you feel the need to disprove, the pity party. Everything was thrown together perfectly just to get Andrew to lock away that girl that could potentially take away your one and only person who cares for you away. We are obsessive and we know it, but we just don't care. In fact, technically, we're not the ones who physically locked her in. Andrew did. Another side note, Andy is also the nickname we called Andrew earlier that made him a little agitated. This will be a reoccurring theme and it's symbolic. We'll go more in depth later, but for now, do what you will with that information. So, we're awake now, Andrew. What's on your mind? He seems to be still upset about dinner. Whatever then, more for us. We didn't kill him, so we didn't do anything wrong. Sure, we both mutilated and ate the corpse, but what else were we supposed to do? Call the warden? Absolutely not. How will we even explain 1, how we got into his apartment, and 2, how he died? A demon got him? Yeah, that'll fly. It was your suggestion in the first place. Again, something else I'd like to explain. Ashley definitely did suggest it first. In fact, she even uttered it out loud, but played coy just to get Andrew to admit it first so then she can use it as arsenal against him. Now, there really is nothing we can do about it. I can whoosh a magic wand, but that won't make your problems go away, Andrew. He's really bothered by this. He sinks his head into our mattress and we pat him on the head. There. Oh, you couldn't get his head off, huh? Apparently the body didn't fit in the freezer. It seems like the toughness of cutting through and around the human spine may have traumatized him a little bit. Come here, Andrew. How are we so nonchalant about this whole ordeal? We're really good at compartmentalizing, just like what we did to that guy in our freezers. Let's throw just a couple Andrews in his face. Andrew, and then hit him with one last... Ah, shit, he bit us. Why are you so against us calling you it anyways? Who cares if we aren't kids anymore? Well, whatever. Isn't it time for us to get out of here? Let's go to bed, then head out later. Good night, Andy. Man, he really doesn't like being called this at all. So, we wake up later on and found that he left us a note, awaiting our arrival at the cultist lair, quoted by Andy. Interesting, seems we might be getting in his head a little bit. We knew he'd come around. Now, let's check this drawer real quick. There's an old drawing in here titled Andy and Leyley and the Very, Very Quiet. This is a drawing directly referencing the death of the girl in the box. I will be referring to this scenario as the Very, Very Quiet from now on, just so I have something to call it. We meet Andrew at the neighbors and we come up with the plan to potentially bargain with the demon to get out of here. It prefers human souls and you consider sacrificing Andy. Nah, I'm just kidding. Of course we wouldn't do that. Anyways, we get the ritual set up, so now we... Oh shit, the warden's here. Luckily, he doesn't know we're inside and thinks the neighbor may just be dead. He says that he was a B-type anyways? What does that even mean? B-type? Whatever, we can't think about that right now. Let's get Andy to stall him so then we can clean up this mess before he comes inside. Andy decides to stall him by offering to trade porn magazines for packs of noodles. And for some reason, this pointless argument seems to actually be working. Let's get the mop and start cleaning immediately. Oh shit, he's coming. We gotta hide. Closet, go. The warden's entered the room. Aw shit, he's coming to check the closet. We're dead. Oh, maybe not. Andy took care of him, and he seems a little upset. Our first thought is to try and tell him that this isn't our fault. Come on, Leyley, let's go play. Considering someone who used to be against using these names, we seem to be getting in his head pretty good. Nice. So, you actually killed him this time. Where's your mental breakdown? He says he's saving it for later. Whatever. Oh, look at this. He had a key on him to get out of this room. Well, let's get out of here. What? What are you waiting for? He asks us not to speak about it, but of course we wouldn't speak about it. We don't want to get caught either. Yeah, whatever. Let's seriously go. I'm not grasping this? He accuses us of probably trying to go find mom and dad. Why would we do that? We don't even have any plans in mind. It's worse. All right, listen, I get it. He gets real assertive now. It won't be the authorities we need to worry about if we're lenient about this. Is he threatening us right now? Andrew corners us against the wall and looks down on us. We're gonna take this to our grave even if he has to put us there himself? You don't scare us, Andrew. He gets real close to our face. We're looking at him, and he's looking right back at us. Don't give us a reason to? Okay, seriously. It's nose in hell the day we're scared of you. We shove him off of us and ask him who the fuck he thinks he is. He seems to feel slight guilt now. He claims that he's just stressed out. We know, we can tell. He just really wants to know if we're serious about this, but we are. Let's actually go now. Actually, we have one more thing to say. We want to just let him know that we don't care about any of our so-called family or friends anymore. Nobody even wanted to call us or try to help us. But it'll all be okay because we have Andy with us, even though he feels like threatening us. Ah, there's that apology we'd love to squeeze out of you. Okay, now seriously, let's go. When we inspect all these doors, we find something very interesting. 2 times AB on our door, and these other doors say 2 times A, 1 times B, and 1 times O, but it has an X on it. Really strange. We head on over to the office and see that there's another key to room 302 and a 4th floor key. There's also some papers on the desk. Documents detailing the selling and acquiring of organs. Ah shit, so here's where I can stop sugarcoating and beating around the fucking bush. All the letters on each door are different blood types, and this entire building is running off of a system where each blood type is acquired, then their organs are sold off. That lady on the ambulance stretcher from earlier, probably one of the victims of this secret black market scheme that's been going on. Also, if you remember, our mom left us here as well. That probably also means she's in on this whole thing and probably knows something that we don't yet. Now that you know this and it has been revealed, I can start pointing out each new discovery. It only took this fucking long. On the fridge, it says not to give food to the AB blood types anymore, and that includes the hot lady from room 302, which is ironically one of the keys we just picked up. The reason why AB blood types were forbidden from receiving supplies anymore is because AB blood types are scientifically less useful. After figuring out ABs weren't useful, they just shortened supplies for them so then they didn't waste any. Now, we head down to the 3rd floor, find more doors with more blood types on them, and then head into room 302. Inside, we find a lady sitting on the bed, and food stocked on the table and in the fridge too. Talking to this lady, she becomes quite defensive off rip. We're just your neighbors from upstairs and Andrew's offering to get her out of here. She declines and boasts how she lives like royalty, getting all the food she wants and getting to watch shows all day. All she does is ask nicely. We're sure she means bending over and opening wide nicely, doesn't she? She didn't like that comment we made, so we got kicked out pretty quick. How come we don't get food? Andrew says maybe we're not pretty enough. Okay, first off, you think she's pretty or something? Of course, whatever. Anyways, can't we offer the lady to the demon or something? After some more conversation, we eventually trail off and ask ourselves again, do you really think we're not pretty? So much so that we don't even deserve food? Andrew brings up maybe they just didn't want to have their way with us when Andrew's around the house. Fair point. And he wouldn't let them anyway. We go back up to the room to finish setting up the ritual. However, one more search of the warden's body reveals a walkie-talkie. We come up with the amazing idea to try and call the warden from the second floor up here to use him as a sacrifice. Obviously, we can't do it with our own voice, so let's just use the lady from 302, considering she already knows the officers very well. Alright, so let's go convince her with this cleaver to her neck. Now she'll coo into this little walkie-talkie and tell the officer that they're planning on having a good time in room 405. While Andrew keeps an eye on her, although we're quite hesitant to do so. Will he end up trying something with her? Anyways, we set up the ritual with the lights, candles, music, and everything. Alright, let's call for him. Oh shit, it actually worked. Who are you? I guess that's not a relevant question right now. Oh, perfect timing. We sacrifice him. So, how was it? Oh, he has something to give us. This seems like a pointless little trinket. Oh, it could potentially give us a clairvoyant dream? That sounds cool, although that isn't what we wanted. It all happened so fast we didn't even get to ask a favor of it. Well, even if it doesn't work, the potential of it seems pretty useful. We're gonna ignore the fact that he called us a tar soul so far, because it seems like we already knew that. We loot the warden's body. A gun? Perfect. Now we can go kill the woman downstairs. Alright, let's just get in there and... Oh, seems like our plans of murking the lady didn't quite work. Andrew beat us to it. Why'd he do it? Andrew says she tried to shoot him with a nail gun, but how did she do that? Let her go? Why did you even think to let her go? It's interesting you want to do that. For no reason at all. And he called her pretty earlier too. Oh yeah, here comes his excuses of saying he didn't try anything even though he obviously probably did. We risked getting shot by the warden, meanwhile you're over here trying to get laid. He wouldn't have almost got shot if he didn't let her go. It's his own fault. He's such a dumbass with women. He tries to really convince us that he wasn't trying to do anything, but we really doubt that. He claims he hates us when we get like this. He goes on mumbling, saying every fucking time. And yeah, it is every time. Every time some floozy comes around. It's always the same with you, Andrew. You just get to dip your dick in some bitch and then you forget about everything. We try to make a point that he's some cockbrain and that his only priority shouldn't be getting out of here, but should be us. Ashley doesn't want to let Andrew go. The one person who showed their care for her, as you'll see examples of later on. Andrew stands up for himself and asks us to step off his love life, and brings up how his girlfriend really did dump him because we apparently harassed the shit out of her. We end up showing no regret. Why would we? You're better off without whores like her. You always go away when we need something, and then he accuses us of always needing something. And how we enjoy the apartment so much because we get to observe and know all of Andrew's whereabouts at all times. Well, we bet you'd love it if we killed ourselves then. Yep, I told you that she brings out all the guilt-tripping tactics inside that holster. Andrew is clearly shocked that we whipped it out of nowhere. A perfect example of us being us, huh? So this is a thing Ashley does quite often. We have you right where we want you. Damn right, at our beck and call. Don't act like we're the bad guy here. We never made you do anything. Why don't you want to spend time with us anymore? He exclaims that that's all we've done over the past 3 months. And then we ask them, why aren't we friends anymore? Of course we are, just what, Andrew? Finish your statement, just what? He tries to walk out of the room, but we block the entrance. We go on to ask, what's so bad about us? All we've done is look out for you. We didn't even kill the cultist or the warden. It was you and the demon. We have no blood on our hands. He accuses us of making him do it. We don't make you do shit. Yes, we do. We get right up in his face, close and personal. And guess what? We're ready to hurt him now. You decided to lock the girl in the crate, not us. Where that cunt choked and died. He's obviously getting more and more furious. What? You chose to do it, and you chose us. You chose us, only us. We begin to hit him and fight. As we scramble to let out our anger, we insult him, call him a backpedaling fuck, and remind him that he chose us. Andrew fights back and holds us by the neck. It seems Andrew's finally picking up a fight, huh? He doesn't have the goal to do it though. We're the only thing he has left. Although after some back and forth, he seems pretty stern on really pulling through this time. We don't even care, because if it isn't gonna be just us, then fuck him. This is what makes him snap out of it, however. He finally lets go of our neck. We jump in to give him a hug immediately after. And then we use this chance to tell him that we really don't care that the girl died, that she deserved it. Andrew asks if we'll behave if it's just us. We tell him that we'll behave if he behaves. Now let's really get out of here. The quest of Andy and... Oh, you're not Andy anymore? He claims Andy is spineless, and he hates Leyley with a passion too. He wants them both to be left behind to rot here. This is symbolism for Andrew finally growing a backbone. He doesn't want to be a puppet anymore, and he doesn't want Ashley to be a puppet master. He wants it to be equal, and he wants to get the fuck out of this shithole together, without all of the manipulation and other bullshit. He wants to be free from his older self. Fine, whatever, we guess, so we agree. He then leads in to give us a hug. He tells us that he really does like us, but we're just so exhausting. We say that's nonsense, and we both agree to to never revisit that convo and get the hell out of here. We head on down to the second floor and find an open window. I don't think we can make that jump, even if Andrew catches us, so we gotta find a way down. For this, we used a nail gun that Andrew almost got shot with, and the carpet in the second floor hallway to use as a makeshift rope to climb down with. After climbing down in the most unladylike way possible, we finally get the hell out of here. And now what? Andrew says to skip town, go to a buffet, and steal someone's IDs. He's got it all figured out. He obviously doesn't, and he has no idea what to do. Well, even if he was being sarcastic, let's stick with that plan. First, the buffet. We haven't eaten in a long ass time. I forgot to mention that we took some money out of a jacket back at room 405. I don't know why I didn't include that when I did it. So we end off pretty happy, and Andrew's about to have a panic attack. We mentioned the demon giving us a clairvoyant dream thingy, and so it seems like we're stuck now and you can't go. Nothing new, huh? Are you really stuck? He pulls us in by the face. Oh yeah, so stuck. There we go again. This is Andy. This is what we want. So, we're finished the first episode, and here's all the important stuff so far. As far as they can remember, Ashley has always been a manipulative brat who seems to be widely rejected by everyone. The only person who actually ever gave her attention was Andrew, and because of this, she formed a strong bond towards him that turned into obsession. This obsession stretched so far that even a girl who had a crush on him was locked into a crate, which you made Andy do the honors of, so then you don't have the burden of being the one who did it, and so you can control him better with it and use it against him. Cutting to current times though, we're seemingly left in this apartment by our parents, which happens to be a huge organ harvesting scheme, and we have blood type AB, which isn't very useful for it. They couldn't just walk in and kill us because that would raise too many eyebrows, nor could they publicly announce an organ harvest, though they built up an entire scenario where there's infested water with parasites and those who are infected are quarantined until they feel better. Feeling better, meaning until it's their time for harvest. We learn that our neighbor was some weird cultist freak, and we end up bonding with a demon who claims Ashley to have a tar-tainted soul. He gives us a trinket, which allows us to see visions of the future supposedly, and we'll probably be seeing him again later. We escape through a lot of murder and arguing, and Andrew forced Ashley to leave Andy and Leyley behind to rot in hell with the rest of that building. Andrew wants to change a new leaf, and seeing that he doesn't have parents that want to talk to him anymore, friends, or even a girlfriend now, he decides that he really is stuck with Ashley, not that he wasn't already, and just accepts it. Ashley, as we know, hasn't really changed much. She's just the same, and will probably maintain to be the same because, you know, she's got Andrew wrapped right around her finger. We've seen hints of Andrew being potentially also possessive over Ashley, but nothing of pure confirmation yet. The possessiveness and codependence of Andrew does indeed become increasingly more clear as the story goes on though. I mean, spending that much time with one person for that long and knowing you can't leave can fuck with you a little bit. Not that he wasn't already fucked up as it is. I'm getting too ahead of myself. I'll let the next and final episode so far really explain everything up to date. So, let's begin. We begin outside of Eat Food and discuss the issue of money. Andrew has money, but he can't use it without letting the bank know where he's at, so it's off the table. Since the hotels we wanted to go to didn't accept cash without ID, we had to stay at some shitty motel, where we actually just remembered that we left the gun back in the room. Well, time to go get it. Checking out this wall near the archway, we find a board with a bunch of call girl ads. We suggest leaving our number out here, however, Andrew says no, so no money for sexual exchange. Andrew also mentions backhanding us if we say one more word, but would he really do that to us? He says not right here anyway. Psh. Wife beater. This is another 50-50 interaction. Banter, teasing, playful flirting. There's a limited time soda advertisement out front and we really want to try it, but again, Andrew says no. He says it's dinner or soda. So we walk over to the vending machine to buy some. What the hell, dude? You said it's dinner or soda, and we chose soda. Well, we don't think Andrew's gonna let us have a choice. I guess it's actual food. Now, back at the messy-ass hotel room. I'll establish an elephant in the room right away because I know your degenerate ass is trying to hear about the shipping shit. Noticing that there's two beds, but both pillows are on the same one. Apparently, Andrew ends up having panic attacks every other night. Again, take it literally or take it with a grain of salt. Up to you. I did mention that the codependence does get raised a notch this episode. Time to do some laundry and clean. Hey, fat ass, I think you mean our awesome fat tits. And then he has the audacity to call us a cow. Whatever, we're just gonna continue doing. Just kidding, I'm gonna stand here in front of him out of spite. Alas, he can't watch the news, but I don't feel like getting out of the way. How can we even be fat? We damn near starved to death for 3 months. You're lucky we love you too much to shoot you. He said he appreciates it, but he didn't say it back. He goes on to exclaim that he does and tells us to fuck off. Whatever, Andrew. He's not even watching anything interesting. It's just an ad about Toxic Soda, a drink that tastes like ass. Now, we did all the chores and the laundry. You're welcome, Andrew. You're so lucky to have us. We cook, clean, and we look good. Meanwhile, you don't do shit. Oh, he seems a little upset about that. You're not gonna be in the news, Andy. Oh, now he's actually upset. What are you gonna do about it? Try to kill us again? He said he thought we were fine, but we are. It's all just jokes. We aren't joking, by the way. It's just a nickname. You're overreacting. And shut up with all your romanticism, symbolism bullshit. We're behaving, so we don't get why you're so upset. He claims that we're not behaving. Are we not? We get close up to his face, and we threaten to show him what it's really like when we're actually misbehaving. We could be so much worse. Oh, now he's real mad at us. He grabs us by the head, and now he's losing patience. Oh, the TV's saying something of interest. Quarantine apartment burned down and everyone died? That's great. All the evidence is gone and now we're scot-free. Although it's hard to believe that it's a coincidence, right? Well, now stress-free, let's head to bed. Good night, Andrew. Oh, a dream. A man steps into the room and assassinates both of us while we're sleeping. It seems as if someone is out to get us. We jolt awake and hold our neck. Apparently it felt too real. So that demon trinket worked after all, huh? Well, we better get the hell out of here now. After leaving the apartment, we decide to sit by the archway to see if he actually shows up. So we wait and wait as Andrew blows money away on cigarettes. Why are you even smoking those anyways? It messes with your blood circulation and makes you impotent too. He claims that he probably isn't going to be meeting any girls anytime soon. I wonder why. Alright, seriously, enough. We take the cigarette out of his hand and throw it out. Oh, it seems like someone's walking through. Although that person doesn't seem like a threat. Just weird. Actually, now that we think about it, didn't we eat that guy? Well, even though we don't want to be left alone, our curiosity is peaking and somebody's got to stay to see if the vision comes true. So Andrew goes to find out why there's more cultists and Ashley stays back. Now, we are Andrew. We will now be talking in the perspective of Andrew. There's actually a lot of extra shit in this portion of the episode. First off, by talking to Ashley a few times, you get some more brain candy. First interaction is just us asking where the cultist went. Then the second interaction is us warning Ashley not to do anything if the cultist shows up. She says for us to just believe that she's not brain dead, but we don't know if we can really trust that knowing her. Third interaction, Ashley can just tell we're trying to stick around for a little bit. It points out how chatty we're feeling tonight. We get a little embarrassed at this and just try to play it off as cool as we can. Also, if we go back to the motel, interacting with the bed, we get this text. Oh yeah, you totally have nightmares as often as you claim. Oh, so we really just do enjoy Ashley's company, I guess, and it isn't always about our night terrors or insomnia. If we leave the apartment, we can actually buy Ashley the drink she was wanting. Kind of disappointed ourselves doing this, but whatever. Go ahead on and try it. Is it good? She goes on to offer us the rest of it. Oh great, and it tastes like shit. Awesome. What a waste of money. She says it's alright because her curiosity has been sated. Why would we want your virginity in return? God, you're annoying. Stop saying shit like that. If a dude buys you a drink at the bar, I don't know if it automatically means he's trying to fuck, but let me know where this bar is you speak of. She goes on to doubt that they're very virginal anyways. How judgmental of her. She goes on to take another sip. We tell her that she can stop taking sips now if it really sucks, but she refuses and insists that it's a gift, so she's very grateful for it. Wasn't really expecting that. She's not as hollow as she seems sometimes. Okay, back to the cult bullshit. There's a whole back alley with an elevator. Damn. Passcode. I wonder what it could possibly be. Of course, why would it be anything else? Let's head on down. Oh, these people don't seem too happy to see us. Is this the demon sex party? No? Oh, well then I guess we'll be off. Time to find another way in. There happens to be a key under a cigarette ash jar, and then we can open the other door and hop on in. A cultist comes up and takes a rolling cart down another elevator. We decide to sneak in crawling under the other cart and using a drape to cover ourselves. The cultist also happens to sneak in a bite of cake too. Now that we're in, let's take a look. Oh, there's a big cult leader guy and he's ready to get straight into it. Let's summon a demon, I guess. It didn't work. Huh. Amateur hour. Our Ashley did it on her first try. Another strange statement from ourselves. There's another thing I'd like to mention moving forward. One of the things that people talk about a lot is that Andrew might be similar to Ashley in many regards, but is just a lot better at keeping certain thoughts and actions to himself. Basically, he withholds a sturdy mask. So the leader notices us without a robe. We forgot it. He just sighs and calls us an idiot. Well, now that we know what's all going on, we miss Ashley. Another line for thought. We report back to Ashley and tell her about this little cultist hangout club with snacks and music. But they can't summon for shit, said with a little blush in our voice for people who are here for that. Oh shit, way to cut off the fun. The guy really did show up. And not only did he show up, he went straight for our room. This wasn't a random act of violence, it was predetermined. He doesn't seem to leave either, so we can assume he's probably staying in there. Ashley says she wants to go back, but why would she want to go back? We don't care about your clothes or anything like that, socks or what it is. Not interested. She brings up that's actually a bra and specific she's worried about, and now we're really not interested. She goes on to claim that we have no knowledge of her struggles. Yeah, so I guess we really are gonna head back for her stuff. And if not for that, Ashley brings up that we may actually have to kill him since this is obviously a hit placed on their heads. We're also just gonna disregard how Ashley completely figured out his entire plan by stating that she's thought about it before. However, before all of that, there's another little bonus sequence if we take Ashley to the cult club with us. If we go up to the coffee maker, Ashley actually offers to brew us some coffee. People are gonna throw a fit when they find out it was used though. She asks if people thought that, why bring it in if people are just gonna take some? We accuse her of being the type to eat other people's lunches. She corrects us and says she's the kind of person who eats other people. Oh, you're terrible. But so is the coffee, use more grounds. Thanks regardless. She says you're welcome and that she spat in it? What? Are you serious? After we're about to head out, a cultist guy comes up the elevator. This is our chance to get back down there. We tell him that we're from the catering service and that we notice that there's a slight lack of cake, referencing to when the cultist ate some earlier. We'd like to go back down and check again just to make sure it didn't fall off anywhere or something. Now that Ashley's here too, she offers to want to try calling up this demon for fun, and she's apparently a natural at it too. We call the cultist over and ask about the sigil on the ground. Apparently they've been using animal blood bought off shelves, which is probably why nothing shows up. Ashley says if she were a demon, she wouldn't show up to that either. Then we bring up the genius idea that if you offer your blood, your sins will be forgiven, since he's been feeling so nervous and sinful for eating the cake. He obviously accepts, and then we get to drawing, lighting, and playing more bullshit music. After some effort, an extremely different demon shows up this time. This huge monster is called Lord Unknown by the cultists. The demon tries to speak, but we can't understand it. It grows bored and decides to leave, but not without Ashley trying to make a bargain with it for that person's soul. The guy got pretty mad at it and has the audacity to call Ashley a bitch. We really didn't like that. This frame does not get used often in this game ever. So after some threats towards him, he kicks us out. We also called Ashley Leyley before we went. We say our excuse is that we didn't want to use her real name in front of the cultists, but our reaction to her saying we'd come around eventually hints that we may not actually be being completely truthful. Now back to the main story. Ashley sees the guy's car and wants to break in for some reason. Ashley, do you want us to get caught or something? What do you mean, huh? She goes on to say that she forgot cars have alarms. She's retarded. And with Ashley telling us to follow her lead, we enter the building. And now, we are Ashley again. Now that the killer didn't immediately jump out, we can pull a bunch of bullshit out of our ass. Oh man, that night walk made us parched. Time to go to the gas station and get something. And let's take the route through the park. How's that sound? He says terrific in the most sarcastic way possible and says for us to go. Hold on, we have to grab our shit and then we leave. Now here you can actually check the closet for some reason and you do get killed. For the better. Probably. Andrew gets bodied pretty fucking fast, although the text says he wouldn't want to live without us anyways. Interesting. Anyways, after grabbing our shit, we head out to the park, all according to plan. Now that we're here, let's go hide behind the tree and ambush him. If he doesn't show up, we'll have to live in fear forever. Now Andrew's in disbelief that he'd actually be hoping for this guy to show up. Speaking of him showing up, we shove the gun into his chest and tell him not it. We're gonna make him do the dirty work again, so then we can hang it over him. Finally he shows up. Although we hear him for a bit, his footsteps stop for some reason. Now what do we do? An idea hits us. Here's the idea. I ain't reading this shit, but you get the idea, bro. You not catching me yelling and screaming some shit about being a dirty boy. You got me fucked up. Came to the wrong channel for that shit. Now that we skedaddled off, we turn to Andrew's point of view. We are now Andrew again. Well, time to go find the assassin. If we go up to the bush where Ashley is, she just tells us off and to keep looking. After searching for a bit, we find him. And here we have two options. One empties out the entire revolver and the other doesn't. We want to do the one that doesn't because it allows us for a new route/ending sequence. But the other one, Ashley just complains that we emptied the whole thing and that's about all the extra dialogue that we get. After shooting him, we get on Ashley for not clearing us about the idea before she sprung it onto us. We tell her to warn us next time. Now, we're back to being Ashley again. We also learn that Andrew does indeed have his fingerprints taken, and Ashley does not. After searching his body, we get his car keys and head back to the vehicle. Inside the car, we find a slip of paper. Dear Mr. Washing Machine, consider this a receipt for your cleaning service. We're extremely grateful that you've accepted to clean our laundry for us, and we're so confident in your cleaning services that we will not be needing any progress reports. In fact, please do not contact us. If anyone were to ask, the less we know, the better. As a bonus, we've included free samples of all the new soda flavors from our sister company. Happy washing. Keep a note of the soda flavors and happy washing thing. That'll be important. And think back to the advertisement from before. So it really was a directed hit, and we're the laundry. Now, let's take the car and go rob our parents. Andrew's a bit thrown aback by this suggestion, but yeah, let's go take Grandma's jewelry and resell it. She may not be able to sell them, but we sure can. Andrew really says we can't go over there and brings up the point that we have pursuers and they would think to check our parents' house. But didn't we literally just kill our one pursuer? It'll be quick, rob, kill, and then get out. Where do they stay anyways? Andrew says he knows the general idea but not the exact address. So they actually told you. Huh. The only thing Mom told us was to stop calling her. Alright, well, Andrew takes the way. Time to get comfortable. Damn, Andrew, what's your problem? My God, it's not even your car. Andrew goes on and on about he'll be caught dead before we get pulled over for something stupid. Make us then. He asks us, do we or do we not want to go rob our parents? We reiterate again, but this time we say make us, Andy. Now he's really frustrated and asks what do we want, and if we're trying to piss him off, it's working. But it was just a joke. Andrew seems to be catching on a little bit, but we insist that it's really just a joke. He claims that we'll keep going Andy, Andy until we get tired of correcting him. He knows our tactics pretty well. It really was just a joke. Well, he says it wasn't funny to him. And we say that nothing's funny to him anymore. Ah, the guilt's working perfectly. You gonna drive? Andrew talks about how he just doesn't want us to get in trouble, but he doesn't have to be such a hard ass about it. He asks if we're angry and that he's just looking out for us. We smack his hand out of our face and say fucking drive, Andy. He looks at us with a piercing stare. He really isn't falling for it this time. Drive, Andrew. Now we decide to give Andrew the silent treatment until he apologizes. We don't know what for, but we won't stop until he does. Oh, another dream. Is this a vision or what? This is weird as hell. We hear the six-eyed demon calling for us to come to him, so we work on that. The basics for this dream is to pick up roses and throw them over passageways to cross them. After doing a couple puzzles, we finally stand in front of the demon. He's trying to tell us something about another bargain, but we can't be bothered right now. Andrew needs to know that we're deliberately ignoring him instead of being dead or something. Duh. He then brings up the trinket we gave us and we thank him for it. I mean, it saved our life. He says that we can't charge it unless we get him more souls, so if we find some more souls for him, we get more clairvoyant dreams. Well, now that we think about it, we have some souls in mind. Mom and Dad. We'll see what Andrew has to say about that, although he's been shifting recently, and we don't like it at all. The demon doesn't care though, and he moves on after telling us his instructions. After doing even more puzzles, if you manage to collect all of your red flowers right, you can actually get to this bonus scene in this gift box. Inside the box is a lemon muffin disguised as a birthday cake. This takes us back. Another flashback. Leyley received a birthday card from her teacher. We're not too happy about it though. Once Andy gets home, he notices that we got a birthday card. That's nice of her, he says. We say she just gives one to everyone on her birthday though, so it's not special. Well, he brings up the point that she doesn't get paid to do it, so she's just trying to make you smile. This doesn't really convince Leyley to feel any better. After some thought, we decide to ask Andy something. Isn't it interesting that when it's your birthday, your classmates come over and stuff, but when it's our birthday, we can't afford anything? Ah, another instance of their parents treating Ashley unfairly. This seems to be a reoccurring thing. Andy offers to go buy us a cake with his pocket money, but we decline. None of our friends would show up anyways. Apparently they're always busy and they decline things before we can even really ask them. So this gives more insight into Ashley's character and why she is the way she is. She's always avoided by classmates and friends, and her parents never really give her the attention a kid needs either. They always seem to prioritize and make it clear that they favor Andrew. Andy said he doesn't care if no one shows up and that it just mean more cake for us. I mean, if he's offering, we may as well, right? Andy brings Leyley to the frozen cakes aisle. He says he's on a budget and $20 is indeed kind of crazy for a frozen cake. After scouting around a little bit, he comes up with an idea. Why not just get the value muffin pack instead? We comment on how those just taste like sadness though, but Andy says if we put whipped cream on them, it's like a bunch of little cakes. Kind of obvious he really just can't afford a big cake right now. We deal with his bargain and say, alright, fine. But in return, he's gotta watch Hyper Gore Splatterbrains 2 with us. He asks, isn't that a mature movie? Yeah, the title sounds like it. This is also another hint at why Ashley is the way she is. She enjoyed doing things that she wasn't supposed to do, which could be a sign of escape from her reality or distraction, or it may just show how they're thinking and feeling. The way her environment treats her may be the reasoning she acts out and becomes so attached to Andrew. He's the only person that seemingly wants to spend time with her. Andy asks us why we enjoy watching it, and we respond with because we're not supposed to. She enjoys the retaliation and thrill of doing something she's been told not to do. especially by people she's not fond of. Well, Andy wishes us a happy birthday. After thanking him, he says he'll remind Mom to put aside some money for us next year. Leyley declines. She says she thinks birthday shit is fucking stupid anyways. Andy tells us to watch our damn mouth, but we continue to talk about how it's whatever, and who even cares. I personally think that this dialogue may be some kind of projection of how she feels. She feels like nobody cares and that her birthday isn't important, so she just sees the whole concept of celebrating someone's day of birth as pointless. Andy says that he cares, but that makes a grand total of one person. He says that fine, he'll just buy her something himself. And he happens to like these sad little muffins, so he'll get them again for us next year. Leyley's existence will forever be celebrated through lemon-flavored dough and preservatives. We tell him to at least get the chocolate ones, but Andy's confused by this. He got the lemon ones because he thought we liked them, and we didn't say anything because we thought he wanted them. It's a pretty cute exchange between what seems like an actual bonding experience between real siblings. Andy asks for us to wish for something. We wish for Andy to never find love and lose all of his friends. Okay, maybe she's still a little strange, but it doesn't seem like she's as far gone as she is now. Flashback over. The good old bad times. Now, after walking through a door, we get to this dark area filled with flowers. Andrew's speaking to us through the dream, and we want to wake up, but we just can't. We run around frantically, stepping on all the flowers, and it finally pulls us out of the dream. We wake up to Andrew looking down on us, and he apparently is extremely relieved at our awakening. He claims he was ready to take us to the hospital, even if it risks screwing us over. Apparently, we woke up around 10 in the morning, so that means our parents should be at work. We're going to try and get that apology still. We tell him that you're only being nice to us because you treated us like shit last night. It doesn't seem like he's falling for it this time though, since he says considering how we were acting, he was pretty fucking lenient with us. And then he has the audacity to go and try and make a ripoff series called The Episode of Andrew and Ashley and the Home Sweet Home Invasion. What kind of cash grabbing shit is that? Andrew makes a pun about it surely being all about cash grabbing, and we're just gonna hide the fact that we kinda like it. It did make us laugh a little bit. Once arriving on the road our parents live on, we comment about how this can't possibly be where they live. It's too neat and nice of a neighborhood. How can they even afford this? We also learned that the last name of the siblings is Graves, so we're gonna look for a nameplate referring to the Graves family. After knocking on the front door and it being locked, looks like we're gonna have to find another way in. Oh, come on, they got a garden and everything. We never had anything like this. Taking a closer inspection, we find that there's a creaked open window, so it looks like that's our way in. After grabbing a wood board from the fence and propping it against the wall, we can just barely reach the window, but just not quite. We need that stick over there to actually get in, but before that, you can hit the window again and get some interesting extra/missable dialogue. Andrew says he'll lift us up when we can find a way to get in. We accuse him of just trying to get an excuse to touch our ass. He goes on to say, first off, no. Second off, like he needs an excuse. He says hurry up before he threatens to slap us. On the ass or in the face, we ask. He said he'll let us find out, but that definitely means the face. Time to go get the stick and latch on in. Once we're inside, we see a bathroom getting freshly renovated. Before we search around some more, we got to let Andrew in. However, we're not going to let him in until he praises us though. We force him to praise us in the most poetic way possible. Then he is permitted access into the house. Now, time to rob it. There's some letters near the front door that come from one of the people in the neighborhood. She says don't worry about us and apparently agrees that it's possibly a blessing in disguise. So I guess that's what they see our deaths as. Then goes on to tell the Graves not to feel guilty about it. They add a little side note and ask if their daughter can have Andrew's leftover textbooks. Tough luck for the daughter. They're all burned to the ground. Damn, they even have a fireplace. It may not seem super uncommon, but to us it's more than rare. Also, if you check the picture frames near Andrew, you guys make comments about how there's apparently no pictures of the siblings. So it seems like they're not only trying to distance themselves from us, but the entire idea of even having a family. After opening the closet in the bedroom, you find some sex toys and rope. This actually has a use later on, believe it or not. In the basement is another bed, which shows that their social life is seemingly blossoming and doing really well. So far, the reputation of the parents is quickly deteriorating the more we learn about them. First, they leave us at a convenient organ harvesting situation, and not only do they never call us or anything, but they apparently have been able to afford a new house in a nice neighborhood and are even doing renovations to it. Not to mention, they don't even have any pictures of the siblings in the house either. Very interesting moves from Mr. and Mrs. Graves. I think it's safe to assume they have more to do with this than we initially thought. We also find a key in the basement. After going back up to the bedroom, we find that Andrew has also accidentally stumbled upon our parents' special interests. But more importantly, the key unlocks the dresser next to the bed. After flipping through some seemingly unimportant papers, we find the death certificates for Ashley and Andrew Graves. According to the certificates, we died 3 months ago. Although in the middle of our realization, Mom comes back home. Uh-oh. Andrew runs over to greet her and tells her that we just came to visit. She seems a little unnerved and confused about us being there, obviously. She asks how we got in, and Andrew says that she left the door unlocked. Nice save, Andrew. He offers to help put away the groceries and make her some coffee, so I guess that's what we're doing now. Andrew just asks us to play along for now. After we're done brewing and everything, it's time to sit and make some small talk at the table. Mom brings up the fire. We go on to ask, what do you care? Ow, damn it. Andrew keeps up his lies and said that we got evacuated and we could go home since we were cleared of the parasites. She says that the news said everyone died though. Andrew says that that type of title would just sell more. Well, she says she's glad we're safe. She sure looks like it. What about this house though? It's a hell of a lot nicer than our old place. How'd you afford it? Win the lottery? She says she wishes she did. That's the perfect non-answer. Now she finally starts showing emotions as she talks about the barbecue she has with the neighbors and how she's enjoying her new social life. She's doing really good now, huh? We can't even be bothered to keep up with this boring and lied-filled conversation. It's all fake happy family crap. Mom says that it was good seeing us and that Dad should be home soon and she has to start dinner. This was obviously an invitation to leave, but Andrew insists on staying to make dinner for her. Now, we are Andrew. Time to search up a recipe. Ashley seems like she has something going on, so we ask what's up. She insists that it's nothing, but we feel the need to hug her until she smiles. However, we stuff that thought in the back of our head where thoughts lie that we wish we'd never had. Oh. Well, time to go get some carrots, potatoes, and onions to chop up. We can go talk to Mom downstairs and she asks if we ever get sick of each other. All the fucking time. She says distance makes the heart grow fonder, but we don't need to grow any more fonder of that nightmare. After we get to the garden, Ashley brings up how nice it is of them to be growing a garden with fresh food while we're starving in an apartment. They sure do love us, huh? So we can start to decipher this whole situation a little bit. Seemingly, Mom sold the siblings off to an organ harvest for money and used that money to purchase and afford a new luxury life that she's always wanted. Now we just gotta figure out how to go about this now that she's seen us though. You say leave no witnesses? We'd rather not jump to that yet. It seems like she has a couple more things to say, but we don't feel like arguing. So we go back inside, cut up all the veggies and meat, and begin a stew. Alright, this is starting to get annoying. Ashley, we can tell something's up. Ashley goes on to say that we have to kill our parents. Jesus Christ. You need souls to recharge your little device? Pretty interesting how you'd mention this now of all times. Seems a little late. She says she tried telling us before, but we blew her off. Yeah, I can't deny that. On that note, Dad comes back in with his very happy self. After a riveting dinner, it's time for everyone to start getting some rest and wrapping everything up. Mom asks if we can clean up dinner, and since we're such a goody two-shoes, we do it. Over us doing dishes, we decide that we just can't rob or kill our parents. It just doesn't seem very doable. It takes one report that our parents are dead, and we'd be prime suspects since we're their kids. Ashley goes on to say that surely not their two dead kids. I mean, fair enough. We do have death certificates, I suppose. She then asks us what makes us sure she won't snitch, considering she sold us off before. That's also an irrefutable point. She seemed to believe us though. Ashley gets infuriated by our comment and talks about how we're always so gullible, and if we think everything is all good, why don't we just stay here and play more happy family? You know we're just keeping up appearances, right? And she is too. Although to Ashley, it felt the same as ever. Oh, Jesus Christ. Listen, Ashley. We chose you. You. We're the ones playing happy family. She then asks that we're not happy. I mean, we'd probably feel a lot better if she just kept her promise to bury our old self from earlier. She says that she's misremembering. She definitely remembers. She just doesn't want to keep up the promise. She wants Andy and Leyley to fully come out. The way she's going about this is pissing us off, but she goes on and on to say that if we don't like it, we can stay here and be a good little parents boy and leave her to rot. It's all about Andy with her, but guess what? We walk up close to her to make sure she hears us. Andy is dead. Ashley pulls a fake, almost mocking-like smirk. We're right. And she really doesn't like Andrew. We get closer to her again. Well, we're sorry, because Andrew is all you get. We hold her chin close to our face to make sure she really hears us and understands our point. But then, we realize how close we are, and then we kind of blush slightly. Now it's not the time to argue anyways. Why don't we just go quietly and then we don't have to worry about it? Ashley then asks why don't we leave with the trinket fully charged? Then at that moment, Mom appears behind us. She seems to get a little curious about our situation. This seems like a bad time to be talking about her keeping her mouth shut by being dead when she's right there. Also, Andrew's hand placement is more food for thought. It seems as the game goes further and further on, Andrew becomes a lot more apparent with his affection compared to earlier. Either that or the game's finally showing more and more about what it's always like. Now, Mom interrupts and asks what we were whispering about. Nothing. Just like peas in a pod? Mom asks us if we have anybody else we can stay with, and that there isn't enough space in this house, even though there definitely is. She allows us to stay one night, but the first thing tomorrow, we have to get out of here. She also glares at us and tells us that we should probably stay in 2 separate rooms, too. We both happen to be very upset about that comment. She demands that Ashley can take the basement bed and we can take the couch. We say our goodnights. Whoa, she seems to wants to go to bed pretty badly, but we're not that tired yet, so, well, I guess we'll be going to bed immediately since we're under her roof. That, whatever, I guess we're heading off to bed now. Well, now we're finally alone with our thoughts and no distractions. A blessing but a curse. We fall asleep and wake up in a dream with a fridge and a freezer. Opening the fridge reveals the cultist neighbor that we dismembered earlier. He speaks in poetry and says that it's now time for us to compartmentalize. So after walking towards this pan, we're introduced to a room that reveals a path as you walk forth. Up on the right, we find Leyley. Why are you even here? Actually, don't even answer. You're not supposed to be here. Says who? Whatever. Let's just get out of here while we still... Why are you still following us, you little shit? Oh, you have candles. Can you give us one so we can light the way? Oh, we can either ask nicely or kill her. Killing her doesn't work as we try to grab her by her neck, but she manages to wriggle out of it. What's wrong with us? It's just a dream. In most people's dreams, they can do whatever they want, yet we can't. Bullshit. Asking her nicely just gives us the same results but different dialogue. We ask nicely, but she says no. Why though? She says that she only has so many, and if she runs out of candles, she can't pretend her lemon muffins or cakes anymore. Actually, a pretty sad reason. After some more bickering, we're off to this other candle stand which lights the way. This is Ashley's room, and she wants us to color and play. She doesn't have any pencils though, but we insist on her going to bed. She offers to just nick herself and then she'll have red, but we'd rather her not, so off to get some pencils. Let's take this candle and light another way. Oh, this is our ex-girlfriend's room. In the window is Ashley's piercing, unblinking gaze, and our girlfriend sits rested on the bed. Looking at the phone, you can listen to multiple voicemails in which Ashley harasses the shit out of her to leave us alone. I'm not gonna read them all, but in summary, she tells her that she means nothing, and Ashley is the real important girl in his life. The one he always goes to when he needs help. The one who is more than a whole to him. In conclusion, don't steal from her. Interacting with our girlfriend shows a memory. Her name is Julia, and we bring up how she's been quiet all day, and obviously something's up. After some convincing, she decides to talk. She talked with her sister about some sort of conversation, and says that it'd be really good for Ashley to learn some independence. For her sake, and for our sake. This is because we always apparently cut things short and cancel so much for Ashley. She's not wrong at all, but our excuse is that if her sister needed something, wouldn't she go? She says yes, but only when she really needs something. We decided to give Ashley the benefit of the doubt and say that her friend's death, the very, very quiet situation, has had a big effect on her, and is probably why she is the way she is. I think Andrew definitely knows this isn't true, and for some reason is trying to cover up not only his, but Ashley's ass on this. We worry about something like that happening to Ashley or her, so we can't let them out of our sight. Again, I really think he's just lying to himself. I mean, he has to lie to an extent because he can't just get up and say that her and Ashley killed the girl, but also he seems like he really doesn't want to let Ashley be independent. It's like he doesn't even want to try for some reason. Maybe he already has and just gave up. But you'd think in a serious relationship, you'd put your foot forward and it'd be a wake-up call, but for Andrew, it isn't. He's too deep into this whole thing with Ashley, and he can't get out. I can't even tell if he wants to get out or not either. We ask her to tie her hair up for us, and she says that we're just gonna pull it again. Now, some people have said that this is just banter between Andrew and his girlfriend. It's just something he does. And others believe that maybe he asks her to do it so much because it reminds him of Ashley. We note that she still lingers, I guess, since it hasn't really been that long. However, it doesn't bother us. And that bothers us. Back in Julia's room, we get the colored pencils and bring them to Leyley. Leyley gives us the candles in exchange, and we light the other candle stand to show another side of the room. This room contains all the other people that we murdered, and opening the closet reveals Ashley. There's that little menace. Apparently we're looking for the part of the body that we ate, and she says that there's plenty of limbs behind us. I guess she's right. A missable dialogue you can get in this room is that if you walk up to the officer to the right of the screen, he comments that it was the officer who was always leering at Ashley, and the only thing we regret about killing him is that we didn't kill him slower. Huh. The more we go on, the more mentally repressed Andrew clearly is. After getting a limb, we're back to the fridge. After collecting the rest of the parts, we stuff them in the freezer. Oh. It seems as if something's appeared. This is the box the girl was locked into. It takes us 3 instances of Andrew walking up to the crate and hesitantly walking away before he finally opens it, and thus, another flashback. We're back to the warehouse. Rise and shine, Nina. Anyways, we're back, and Leyley tells her that hopefully she learned her lesson. However, there's no response. Probably still sleeping, right? After opening the crate, Andy gets his first look at a dead corpse. The corpse of Nina is inside the box. Leyley says oops with the most knowing eyes in the world, and we slam the box shut. We're so confused and in denial that we ask Leyley for confirmation if this is really happening. Leyley says whatever, and if you're that weak, let nature take its course. She says for us to just leave, and since we took off the stick, it'll look like she got herself in anyways. But all the claw marks scraped into the walls of the box say otherwise. Leyley still insists on it being whatever and leaving. We bring up how she'll start rotting and people will find her here eventually. Her family was already looking for her as it was. As we're having our little panic attack, Leyley says to just hide it. If nobody knows, then who cares? But they'll find the body and throw us in prison. Leyley doesn't mind as long as we can both both be with each other. However, we are furious at this remark. Does she not realize what this means? They're going to take her away from us. Leyley didn't know that and asks us to come up with something then. We say to just carry her corpse into a forest and dig her a grave. So we get a tarp and head on over. Now that we found our spot, we use wooden planks to dig a hole in this patch of grass. After some hard labor, we realize how hard digging this deep into the ground is and decide to give up and just not dig any deeper. Probably good enough, right? So we chuck her in, grab some foliage, and that's that. We're still pretty anxious about this even now that she's buried. I mean, what if police dogs find her or something? Leyley says just to forget it, but how can we? She informs us that if we don't think about something for a really long time, it's like it never happened. She seems to have this habit of compartmentalizing, even with current day Ashley, and it's pretty effective for her. However, we aren't that simple. We need to know that she won't say anything to anyone. Seriously promise this time, don't flip-flop around like usual. She reassures us that it'll be fine, but then remarks that she's just kidding. Leyley finds this to be the perfect time to manipulate us. If we don't do what she says, she'll tell everyone about what we did. She says that we're her best friend now, but we already knew that. Don't lie. But we're not lying. She claims that we're a bad person, but she won't tell anyone. But she's a bad person too now though. But she remarks that she doesn't care. She says that nobody likes her anyway, so it doesn't even matter. We're gonna be around now, but Leyley, we've been around this whole time. None of this needed to happen. You could have just... What? She says that she knows we don't like her. She knows. We don't say anything to this, so it's hard to say if we really do or don't like her. But it doesn't really matter anymore, because she's gonna hold this over our heads to do her bidding. We'll be whatever you want us to be, I guess. She seems very bright and happy. However, we're very knowing of the situation that we're in. We're stuck, and we don't want to be. Several days go by without anything crazy going on, and we lay in that bed depressed. Leyley comes in to ask for our ice cream. This is as Ashley as it can get. We say sure. We haven't been able to eat anyways, so may as well. Has anyone brought up anything to you, Leyley? Apparently her teacher and an officer asked her. Thankfully she didn't say anything, although she asked Julia if she was expecting to see someone the other day. Oh, come on, why? I guess Nina did tell her mom that she went to go study with Julia. Apparently Julia said she was visiting family that day, so it's safe to say that she was oblivious. Regardless, she went out and started talking about it. Her promises mean fucking nothing. How are we worse than we were before when we gave you our ice cream? She then goes on to say that she sees how it is. Oh, Jesus Christ, she still thinks we're after her. Here we fucking go. Again. We can't deal with this shit anymore. She goes on and on and on and she just never ends. We need a knife. Now that we have the ability to free roam, we can walk around and head out to the balcony. It's our dad. Hey, Dad. He says hey back, but doesn't say much. See ya, Dad. You're not jumping. What do you mean? Oh, it seems like he got laid off his job. He got fired. He goes on to say that life goes on. Cryptic. We're all important. Anders? It's Andrew, Dad. Well, he decides to head on over to the unemployment office. Great talk indeed. We finally get a glimpse of what our dad was like. Distant. It seems like he literally was barely there at all, so much so that he doesn't even know his children's names. All he knows is work. Nothing else. Now, if we go up to the TV, we see a person getting interviewed. A very successful person, apparently. Before starting his soda company, they were a surgeon. What plans do they have for the future? With this drink brand, there comes a great demand for water. They've partnered up with several water distribution companies, and they go on, but we really can't be bothered. So, remember a while ago when we saw a Toxic Soda ad? Whoever this is the owner. Conveniently enough, also a surgeon. We'll talk a little more about this person in a bit. It's time to go get that knife. Going back to Leyley, we thought about whether killing her would be even worth it. Instead, we offer a blood oath. Keep the secret, and we keep her company. And if she doesn't keep her promise, we have nothing to lose. She's gonna ruin our life either way. What happens if we break the promise? We won't if you won't. How are you not buying that? Leyley, you are a loathsome being that has wormed its way into every aspect of our life. And for that, our heart will have a rotten, moldy sore spot just for you. Make of that what you will. So, we nick our fingers and begin the oath. And thus she forever keeps her mouth shut, as long as we keep our eyes shut and let no hussy steal our gaze. Hey, we said we'd be around, not that there wouldn't be others. She wants to do a do-over. Why can't we just kill our parents? We don't remember her saying this. Do it for our sister. Do it to feel something. For food. To avoid the things she'll do to us if we don't. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Anyways, what the hell do you want? To kill our parents? Right now? She says she's given us plenty of time to think about it, but we took too long, so now it's her way. Fine. Ashley becomes surprised at our willingness to cooperate. Welcome back, Andy? That's not it. It's just you brought up good points. She's definitely liable to sell us up or snitch on us. We don't know why we let ourselves think anything else. Ashley goes on to be her usual annoying self and call us a gooey marshmallow at heart. And if it wasn't for her, all kinds of vile women would have gobbled us up already. What the hell? What was that? A demonstration? We seem to be having fun with this. God, you're so dumb. We should... Uh-oh, mom came in. You want to talk? Really bad time. Without Ashley, especially bad time. Mom wants to give us an explanation and stuff, but we're just, oh, so tired. Oh man, I can't right now. And she walked over. Don't mind little old her, huh? Yeah, this doesn't look right. We hide the bite and avert our gaze with shame. Better not be what it looks like. Oh shit, well, Ashley's showing her a real something, huh? Jesus, man, that was quick. It then goes on to lead her into the basement at gunpoint. So I guess we really are doing this. So, time to go get that rope out of the closet. And we're told not to kill Dad yet, but we didn't plan on it anyways. Time to search through the set. Oh shit, Dad's figured us out. We just needed, we want to fuck ourselves? Nice one, Andrew. Surprisingly, he decides not to ask any more questions and asks where Mom is. Perfect. She's down in the basement. We think she needs help, actually. He leaves to go help Mom, and we quickly grab the rope and contemplate hanging ourselves with it. Time to take out our cleaver and... I can't believe he actually fell for that. Are you serious? Well, we tie up Dad, and with one rope down, we gotta use Christmas lights for Mom. Before that, though, we can get this sequence where if we interact with Mom 3 times... What? We're just checking if she has anything on her, and no, she doesn't. One more check. What? We're still looking for something. Look elsewhere? Don't talk to her, get away from her, and don't even look her way. She claims that she can't trust us to get misty-eyed. She seems to be getting pretty frustrated. Just one more Oh. Well, maybe it's time to actually get the lights. Well, now that she's tied up, time to start the ritual. Not quite yet, actually. We want the pin for her credit card. Mom asks if this is about money. Kinda. Regardless, she tells us the pin and we decide to go ahead and try it. We tell Ashley to stay here and not do anything drastic, and we'll be right back. All right, let's go. Jesus Christ, Ashley, get the hell back down there. Ashley, seriously? It takes one of them to start screaming and then we're fucked. Yeah, Ashley, people are cooperative when a gun is pointed at them, so go do it. We'll be right back. Oh God, she has more to say. What is it now? She asks if we're actually in on this. We just said we were. She accuses us of having this habit of flip-flopping. Look, you gotta trust us, and we'll be back soon. And on that note, we say our goodbyes to Ashley and head on out. We are now Ashley. Well, time to go get the shit for the ritual. Let's get the knife and head back downstairs. Here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna cut some blood, and don't scream or else you're dead. Got it? Mom says to just take the money and go, and doesn't understand our need for blood. Oh, so now you want to know what's wrong. Don't act like you haven't tried. But you haven't. Mom goes on to say that we're the ones who shut her out, and she struck her neck out for us regardless of that. Like when you left us to starve for 3 months. Turns out that's not what she's talking about. She's talking about Nina, and says that she chose not to say anything. Psh, what? Take your meds. Mom insists she knows we did something to Nina, and that she knew the second she found out it was near the warehouse we used to play at. Whatever. Mom then goes on and on to say that if she didn't love us, then she would have ratted us out then and there. Looks like we figured out where we got the habit of dangling favors over people's heads as a manipulation tactic from. She claims herself to be a saint, but with her habits, she was probably just trying to cover her own ass. Now, should we cut Mom or Dad? If we cut Mom, she really doesn't do anything, and Dad yells out, but doesn't make much of a ruckus. However, if we cut Dad, she gets a real reaction. We said no screaming, Mom. She would like to murder us right here, right now. And that fills us with glee. Now let's get this circle drawn and done. Look, Mom, a circle. Oh God, she just keeps flapping her lips. The nerve of you, you never... No. Let's not let her get a rise out of us now. Time to line up some candles and oh, look who's back. Give us a hug. Oh, Andrew's pretty pissed about there being a draw limit on her card. Mom gives us a smug, suck it, bitch. Being insufferable runs in the family. Andrew is furious and demands it's time to go call customer service to get this draw limit removed. You owe us a hug now. Andrew says he thought we grew out of the touchy-feely crap, but we're just really stressed. He's willing to give us one, but he's embarrassed in front of a crowd. All right. After waiting 5 million years for customer service, awkwardly, we finally get on the line. Mom takes off the card limit, definitely not at gunpoint, which the worker gets a good laugh at. Then we set off to the basement again. All right, now that she's tied back up, time for us to go pick up the rest of the money. Andrew says she doesn't like the idea of us being by ourselves late at night. We insist on getting the wait a minute, can we even trust him alone with our parents? What if he gets manipulated into believing them? We know how vulnerable he is. Can we trust him? Now, here's where all the differences in the world are made. There's a few options from this point forward that deter us towards different endings. 3 possible ones. Trusting him or not trusting him being the primary factors in the endings. So firstly, we're gonna pick not to trust him because I know why you're here. You freak. We're saving that shit for the end. So on that note, we let him go get the cash and we stay with our parents. Time to light candles and draw sigils. Mom accuses us of brainwashing Andrew into playing along with this. We can't really say we brainwashed him. We kind of did, but he also willingly did this on his own. After lighting candles and drawing sigils, Andrew comes back. It's time to summon the demon. Let's get to it. Our parents are obviously a little confused, but we offer them immediately. Now that we gave you some souls, charge up our little doodad. A deal's a deal. The demon goes down to Andrew, and he gets a little confused. This is indeed the brother, the one and only. We claim that he's not very useful or loyal, but actually, why do we even keep him around? Andrew apparently asks the same thing. We're just as confused as he is. We're not a pretty lady. We're just the person he blames for everything so that he doesn't have to live with his own guilt. Andrew still doesn't catch the hint. We tell him how it is. If we left him alone with our parents, he probably would have sided with them. He assures us that he's with us on this, but it's not uncommon for him to lie. He gets a little frustrated, but eventually apologizes that he had to think about it, but says that it means enough that he picked us in the end. We say that he picks us one day, but as soon as someone else comes into the picture, it's to hell with us. Andrew says that it didn't happen, so it doesn't matter. What more do we want? We just want to feel secure because he doesn't provide anything. Andrew gets a bit speechless. He doesn't really have anything to say. What are we doing about the bodies anyways? Andrew goes on to ramble to himself that nothing he says matters when we're like this, but now isn't the time. The bodies. Focus. He says it's best to make them look like they just disappeared because a murder investigation is the thing we want the least. Well, time to get the cutting. How do we go about this? Luckily, we happen to spot a drain near the basement shower. Andrew starts to untie our parents, but stops? What happened? Turns out dad is breathing and mom too? I mean, whatever. Maybe losing your soul just means that you turn into a vegetable. Andrew brings up that it can't be because of the cultists and the warden. But did we even check? Uh-oh. We may have cut him up alive. Oopsies. We sure didn't check. We just went straight to chopping. Oh man, this is funny. Andrew doesn't seem to be laughing though. Oh, come on. He probably died quick. And if not from blood loss, probably from you decapitating him. How does this change anything? We can just leave him to starve if you really wanted. What is there to think about? Jesus Christ. Look here, Andrew. We decide to do it ourselves. What are we doing? Now you can't say you're the only one who does all the dirty work. He'll bitch and moan later, but he definitely sighed with relief, and we caught that. Well, time to start cutting. We'll guide the blood into the drain while Andrew... Oh, ew, gross. What the hell? It's flooding. We didn't even notice it until now. Fucking yuck. So with the clogged drain, we're gonna have to get a screwdriver, baking soda, and vinegar. After getting set equipment, we unscrew the lid, pour in the Oh. Oops. Apparently baking soda first, and then vinegar. It definitely bubbles up, but it doesn't solve the clog. Well... looks like Andrew's gonna have to get his hands dirty for us. After all, we're just a dainty little lady. We grab some gloves for him and he unclogs the drain. Oh, fuck, that's disgusting. We're gonna gag. Andrew gets pretty frustrated with our remarks. Fuck, Andy, that's gross. Surprisingly, he doesn't respond to the Andy part or the mockery. Instead, he stays silent. Perfect. Although it is a bit worrisome that he's not reacting. Well, Andrew dismembers, decapitates, and disembowels our parents. What fun. Andrew sits there greatly disturbed by doing this, and we're happier than ever. You having any regrets? Andrew asks if he'd even be allowed to say so if he did. You can tell us anything, Andy. Anything he wants used against him? He knows us well. We love you, Andy. We love you, we love you, we love you, we love you. We apologize for lashing out and realize that this is oh so difficult for Andy. Andy crawls towards us and kisses us on the nose and says with the most cold stare we've seen out of him this entire game, I've got nothing to say to you. He then continues butchering our parents, and for the first time, we have no idea what he's thinking. Well, the plan now is to dispose of the remains using whatever is around the house. So, we smoothie up the internal parts and pour them down the drain. As good as gone. Andrew seems pretty unenthusiastic right now, and we take note of that. So, we continue to chop up the limbs and skin the faces. We decide to try burning the flesh in the fireplace, and we can deal with the bones and skulls later. After placing it in the fireplace, we decide to make the meat into soup. We'll throw away the rest as scraps. I don't think Andrew comprehends that we're eating some. He seems a little disturbed. Time to grab some veggies, chop them up, and start the soup. After a bit, dinner's ready. Andy says he didn't know that he was having some too, but of course he is. We aren't going to be having a good home-cooked meal for a while anyways. You're not going to have any? He says he doesn't see the point, since if he was really that hungry, we're in a house full of actual food available. But don't you want to feel powerful? We go on to explain that since humans are at the top of the food chain, when we eat them, we feel above them. Andrew comments on this becoming a thing, and he wants to know if it's going to be reoccurring. We don't comment and go on about that if we eat someone, it's like we ate their whole life so far, and all of their energy maintains within us. If that would be the case, we'd be all powerful. Andrew brings up that he doesn't see the need to have that much power, and especially has no desire to intake any of our parents' energy. Well, those two will shit out and flush down the toilet. Oh my god, there it is. Our first laugh in what feels like forever. Well, Andrew says that we've done the most with the flesh we can do. Now it's on to the bones. But before that, let's toss the soup while Andrew cleans the kitchen. We are Andrew. Or Andy. Who knows right now? After that, we can finally start to plane out the remains. We plan on throwing all the bones into the ocean besides the teeth because of dental records. It should be fine as long as the teeth are removed. So we flush the teeth down the toilet and get rocks to weigh down the bones in a bag. Time to clean the basement. Ashley asks why. Does she intend on doing it here again or something? We're gonna live here? Okay, I don't think she understands the weight of the scenario. Our parents work, and the co-workers or bosses are gonna point out that they haven't been to work in a while without a word. Not only that, they also mingle with the people in the community, so that's another instance. She brings up just lying and saying that we're house watching, but that just simply would not fly. How does she not realize this? Someone is bound to come looking with the authorities, and look who'd be here. Their own children who didn't file a missing persons report on their own parents. It's not that we don't want to stay here, Ashley. It's that we don't think we can. Now we are Ashley again. Time to get the cleaning. After washing the blood and putting away the candles, we head up to see if Andy's ready to go. He brings up there's no way to tell if we've missed something unless we have a dream of the future or something, so we decide to go and just try that. And Andy asks what the limits are on the trinket. Hell if we remember. Andy gets a little frustrated with this, and eventually after some bickering, Andrew wants to try holding it this time. Nope. If you'd have a vision, you just flip your shit anyways. He says that he actually takes things into consideration, and if anyone should be deciphering them, it should be him. We double down and tell him absolutely not, and he wishes us a horrible night and awful dreams. So we head to bed. Another dream. Nice. Well, I imagine this flower. Oh. Somebody's trying to barge in to get us. Oh, we better get going. Grab some flowers, make a bridge, grab the axe, get the sign, then cross over to the door, kick it down. Easy peasy. Then more flower puzzles. Great. There's a key at the top left and another key that drops down from the sky by default. This extra key will help us open up another door up above for a secret dialogue exchange between us and the demon. And some ghost friends? Apparently they're souls. Pretty cute. Those two up there happen to be very fond of each other, one of them being tar-colored, presumably like ours. So are we dreaming or what? Why are you here? It explains that we're dreaming, and we're not at the same time. It's kind of here for no reason. We're using its talisman, so it's curious as to what for. Us meeting it is coincidental. So let's head back, get the white key, and travel through this door. Quite the long passage. Oh shit! It's just Andrew. Something isn't right about him though. Couldn't we talk this out? Here's the axe. We toss the axe on the ground. There. Truce? Looks like Andrew isn't going to cooperate. Well, let's begin running, although it's futile. Wait, no, it's not our fault. We don't even know what we did, yet it isn't our fault. Andrew goes on to call this episode Andy and Leyley and the final finale finally. We're sorry, we'll be better, let's just leave this behind us. We'll behave. Andrew isn't buying it. We're sorry, Andrew, we're sorry. However, he's tired of it. He's really gonna kill us this time. Well, here's our two choices. Since we didn't waste all the bullets killing the assassin, we have the chance to save ourselves or just accept death. Let's shoot first. Well, Andrew, guess what? We begin to absolutely lose it. Manic laughter and a masquerade of gunshots fill the void. We cry as we mock his death. He thought we wouldn't. He's a waste of our... We kick him. Waste of all of us. We're glad he's dead. We're glad he's fucking dead. And that's where we wake up. Now, let's go back and see what happens if we let him kill us. We grow a little heart over our heads. God, you fucking suck. Bye-bye, Andrew. We had fun. On that note, he tells us he'll see us in a bit. We are cut. Then continuing where we left off, we wake up. Both still lead to the same ending, so I'll just be continuing the ending route as normal. We're quite shocked when we wake up. We're in denial. Andy would never do that to us. Then we think about it more. Flashbacks hit us. No, it seems plausible. As long as Andrew's around. Andrew comes in mid-monologue and checks in on us. Oh, we just had a nightmare. Nothing more. No visions, just vague nonsense. Let's try our luck. Hey, Andy? Please be Andy. He responds, yes, thank God. Nothing at all. We just love you. Jesus, what a cold response, per usual. It wouldn't hurt to say it back. He accuses us of calling him by another guy's name, and why we should even expect it. On that note, our parents will throw themselves into the oceans by themselves. Not anymore anyways, so let's walk back and head back into the Oh. Shit. Well, whoops. Are we gonna pick them up? It's not our fault you packed them in these flimsy bags. He then goes on to call us a dumb bitch. What did you just call us? He yells at us to do it now. All right, Jesus. So we walk up to a spot away from the lights, and Andrew drops the bag into the ocean. What about the skulls though? He says to just chuck them, so then we do just that. Congratulations on your loss. Very clever, he says. Something just isn't right about him. It's nothing, Andrew. So what do we do now? Whatever we want? Oh, this is new. How come? Oh, He says he feels like we're just gonna do whatever we want anyways. He normally isn't wrong. Are you mad at us? No? Huh? What do we want to do? We want to do what you want to do. Besides turning ourselves in, hell no. So much for his opinion, he says. Not that he was serious anyways. God, he really is different. You really are mad at us, Andy. Why? Remember when we said we wouldn't call him that anymore? Nope, not at all. We remember you mentioning that we can do whatever we want though. He goes on to ask that we're really gonna treat him this way after all he's done for us, which is honestly quite a lot. So you are mad at us. He asked us for one thing, and not a big thing, nor even a difficult one. Andrew admits he's mad. He says that we're not going to do anything about it anyways, so he just wants to know our next move already. You were fine with us calling you Andy earlier on though. He had to be? I mean, I guess so. He knew he couldn't afford to start a fight with us at the time. He caught on to us starting to push for it while we could. He walks up to us, now face to face. There's no corpses to hide, nor appearances to hide, and he asks if we want another go at it. Well, he gets intimidatingly close to our face, especially after the dream we just had. What would you want, Andrew? We begin to well up a bit. He backs off. He says that he wants to drive off this bridge with us in the trunk. Hell no. We don't want to be with mom and dad, then spare him half the respect he gives us? We will only do that after he loves us with half the heart we give to him. He asks how irritating him is supposed to inspire tenderness, but it's complicated. We're just a complicated person. He goes on to call us a simpleton. Well, if we were, why can't you keep up? He says that he'd have to be stupid to understand stupids. God, you're so arrogant. Now it's time to get out of here, I suppose. Where are we even going? We don't know where, but it's somewhere away from here. Are we fine? Yeah, probably. Thus ends the decay route. We can still go back and choose to trust Andrew all the way back at the basement and still go for the decay route after. So we trust him. He tells us to be careful and we head off. We are Andrew. Well, time to go get some blood and draw the runes, we suppose. Mom asks if she's making us do this. No, Mom, she isn't. We're not gonna kill you either. At least not technically anyways. She goes on to ask about the witchcraft shit, but it's just her trying to scare you a little, obviously. We'll leave you alone after. She really doesn't seem to take our word for it. Mom tries to bring up the same conversation from earlier, but we really don't care though. It's about Ashley? What is it? She apologizes. Actually apologizes. For making us have to take care of Ashley. She tries to throw a pity party asking if we can imagine how hard it was having a 7 and 5-year-old at the age 20? The fuck? This just processed as I am looking back over the footage now, bro. This woman was pregnant at 13. She goes on to claim that it isn't an excuse, but instead an explanation. Yeah, sure. She never hated us. She just admits that she was a fuck up. Dad butts in and tries to deny this, but look where their parenting got them. Locked in a basement at gunpoint by their own children. She says that we were so easy that she thought having another wouldn't be an issue. So counting on Ashley to be so what? This aggravates us. He apologizes again. Well, it is what it is. What do you mean it doesn't have to be? How could we sort this out? Is that right? She can help us get a job? They're apparently hiring at Dad's company, so he can help us get hired. She goes on to say that it should be easy for us to deal with difficult customers since we've had to deal with Ashley for so long. She talks a lot of shit about her own daughter at every chance she gets. Literally. What do we say? Here's the two options. Declining goes towards the other ending, and accepting continues back to the decay route, just with a bonus scene. So let's take a look at it. We squat down with our hands in our arms. We really wish we could accept. We do. But we're so stuck. So much more stuck than they even realize. We grip our sweater harder as our mom asks about the death certificates. She claims there must have been an ugly mix-up that we can clear up. There's definitely more to it than that. Mom tries to reassure us by saying nothing has happened that can't be fixed. She claims to not be mad about it at all, and says that if we can convince Ashley to give us the gun, we can put this behind us. We look up, piercing through her fibs. She's lying through her teeth. Fuck this. It's time to light the candles. And from this point forwards, it's all the exact same as before. Let's head back to this olive branch decision. Accept or decline. Now, if we choose decline, we can now head down the burial route. Well, about Ashley. We bring the cleaver up to her jaw. We really wish you wouldn't talk about her that way. Dad cuts in to tell us not to fight and assures that there's probably a solution. We confront Mom about the death certificates. What were they about anyways? Mom admits that it was a life insurance scam, and there was this doctor, or rather a surgeon. She says that after they told us we'd be quarantined, we got directed straight to him. She claims as far as records go, we died from parasites. Did we even have life insurance? Apparently she got it for us after we got quarantined. Curious as to why they'd let her do that? So then when we quote unquote died, you were in on it then. Mom says that she really thought we died, and says that they said our bodies had to be burned because of the parasites, so she never got to confirm it herself. Well, she's full of shit. She just outed herself right in front of us. They never told us we had to be burned. We weren't even a part of that shit. We escaped through a window. Well, anyways, time to finish setting up this whole thing. Mom offers to sort out the documents for us and for us to even live here, but we just simply aren't interested though. Our mom is dumbfounded that we aren't interested. Why would we not? It seems like she finally caught on. She realizes that we saw through her lies and that we fuck Ashley? Jesus Christ, no, bro. Mom tells us how disgusting we are, but we've never even done anything like that. She's just assuming shit. I guess this is where Ashley gets her sexual assumptions from. What does she give us that makes us worth it? Well, good question. That's none of your business anyways. Mom goes on to say that she knew something felt off and calls herself the worst mother ever. I mean, she is, but we would never. Oh, Jesus Christ, she's back. This is the worst time. She goes on to really embarrass the shit out of us considering the scenario, call us handsome while rubbing against us, and Mom is absolutely disgusted by this. We wish we were dead. Whatever, let's just get this shit over with and summon it already. We are now Ashley. Time to do the ritual again. So the same as the other route, the demon comes in, take their souls, but the dialogue between the siblings is different this time. He goes up to Andrew like before, and he's just as confused as the other route, but instead of igniting an argument, we actually praise him. Yep, that's the one and only. Our pride and joy. And the demon can't have his soul. It's ours. Andrew blushes at this, and the demon leaves, asking to bring Andrew like last time. What did it mean it'll summon us? Whatever. What do we do about the bodies? Andrew mumbles to himself, asking if we're kidding him. Focus, Andrew. Right, the bodies. All the dialogue is the same about our plans on what to do with the bodies up until we point out the drain again. Instead of saying right we are and leaving it at that, we say that this proves we're not a dumbass all the time. Andrew just says we're dumb and an ass. Check out this smart ass. We realize our parents are breathing again, and he has another breakdown about the realization he just cut up living people, and then we get our hands dirty in front of him again. The drain clogs up again, and we get the shit for unclogging it. Get him gloves, then boom. This is a different scene as well. After mocking him for pulling disgusting shit out of the drain again, instead of ignoring it, he begins to threaten us. He arms his horrible clump of God knows what and pulls us by our shirt to make sure we don't run. You wouldn't, we say, as he decides to keep going anyways. We scream and shout that we'll kill him. He asks for any last words, and we apologize to him, making sure to refer to him as Andrew for good measure. He decides to spare us for now, thank God. Time to decapitate, dismember, and disembowel our parents again. But this time, we take a mental note about Andrew. Instead of having mixed feelings like expected, he's rather calm about this. This makes us really uncomfortable. Now who really is it? Oh, he heard us. Nothing. Andrew. He offers to take care of the rest if we're tired, but we insist and try to convince him that nothing's seriously wrong. He states that he must be seeing things, because he thinks that we may actually be feeling something over our parents' death, or just being mopey about us having to finally get our own hands dirty. But what about you? Are you doing all right, Andrew? He says as fine as he can be. We look down in hesitance and confusion. That's good, Andrew. Andrew begins to touch our forehead with blood, saying you're being weird, as he trails it down vertically across our face. Says you. Alright, no time to waste, I suppose. So he continues casually butchering our parents. This leaves a knot in our stomach. So we finish chopping and come up with the idea for soup again. Cut the limbs up even more, throw them in the fireplace, and we begin to blend our parents' innards again. Good is gone. But this time, Andrew's almost offended that we didn't offer him any. But of course we wouldn't offer him raw meat. Does he take us for an idiot or something? He says that he takes us for what we are. An idiot. Well, watch this, Andrew. This idiot just poured your parents down the drain. He laughs and admits that that was a good one. So it seems like this route, Andrew is a lot more sane. Or insane, depending on how you look at it. And is so much happier, it seems. He's not moping, clinging on to bad shit. He's just moving on and compartmentalizing just like us. He doesn't seem as stressed either. A complete polar opposite from the decay route. So we get the veggies, throw everything in the pot, and make the soup. Andrew's at the table and he asks again if he's eating, but this time we offer him a spoon and ask him to say, ah, and he actually does it. Extremely unexpected. Something is really changing in him. We gleefully ask how it tastes, waiting for our usual praise that we beg from him. He just says it's okay. Just okay? Really? He said it's better than last time, but what? Why are you so picky? He claims it to be dry. Are you kidding me? How the hell is it dry? It's soup. He says mom should be more salty and that he rates this a waste of ingredients out of 10. You will retract that statement right this instance. We slave away and this is the thanks we get? Jackass, eat shit and die. Before he finishes his statement of calling the food shit, we start to tear up a bit. And this makes him retract his statements. He claims he was joking and says that it's fine. No, it's more than fine. He says it's fantastic instead. Is that better for us? No, more. He goes on in his poetic way to compliment our chef making. Food of this caliber should only be fed to kings. No, gods. Yes, that's more like it. It makes him want to write a poem about it? Oh, Jesus Christ, no. He goes on to recite his poem. Lo and behold, I implore you, come feast your eyes on her. Oh, and there's food too. To ease your weary soul, she's brewed a broth to give you quite the fright. There must be magic on her fingertips to cook such a delight. And yet the meat is drier than her lips. midnight. Should we buy a lip balm? How would you even know that? Regardless, the meat isn't dry, Andrew. Humans are hard to cook. We'll get it better next time. Instead of pressing us on if this is going to be a reoccurring thing, he just brushes it off as whatever in this route. Now, it's the same as before again. Throwing away the soup, switching to Andrew, getting rocks, bags, bones, clanking the teeth out, flushing them. Then we switch back to Ashley again. We clean up. Then after we get in bed, ready for another clairvoyant dream. Andrew asks if he could hold it, but instead of just saying no, we wonder if it would even work with him holding it, since the demon gave it to us. Worth a shot, he says. God, he didn't catch the hint that was just a different way of telling him no. Oh, he got it. He just doesn't care, apparently. No, it's our trinket. Ever heard of sharing? Yeah, great point, Andrew. How would we even share it? Cut it in half or something? Yeah, that'll surely work out. He says to just both hold it at the same time to see if either of us gets a vision. Between our hands. Oh my, how romantic. Holding hands while sleeping, huh? What the hell happened to Andrew? Fuck off, he says. We're just kidding, Andrew. It's fine, though we doubt you're gonna end up seeing anything. We'll see, I suppose. Good night. And on that note, we head to sleep. Or try to, anyways. Seems like someone's having trouble. He asks how he's supposed to sleep after we said something so off color, and it doesn't help with Mom saying what she did earlier. Oh yeah, we heard that. That's what that whole show we put on earlier was about. We hope she regretted her whole life just then. If for once she regretted us, then we're happy. Andrew looks over at us. We can't quite decipher what he's thinking about. He goes back to clutching the trinket and says goodnight. A dream, or vision again. It's a lot different than the last one though. There's two floating crayons, and the way you get to them is similar to the other dreams. Walk along a path that shifts as you traverse it. That goes for both crayons. Once you give the pink plushie all the crayons, the room fills with a dark red, and the television changes. You interact with the television, and you stare at it. And it stares back at you. This episode is titled Leyley and Leyley Alone. It then cuts to this room with 3 other plushes. Those 3 sit at the dining table, while the pink one strays far and alone from the rest. These all symbolize a person. Pink for Ashley, green for Andrew, yellow for Mom, and red for Dad. You can't take any of the plushes except for Andrew, and you can then place it next to Ashley. We can then pick up a stool and move it next to the dining table. Putting Ashley on the stool results in her falling over. No matter how much we try to involve her, it fails. She always seemed to be pushed away from her family. Meanwhile, Andrew was the only one who actually showed her the affection a child needs. So, as a result, we put her back to Andrew, and it feels much better that way. And thus, the next room is now open. We can pick up both the plushes and bring them over towards this seemingly wedding bower in the grass, with 2 more plushes underneath, the brighter yellow representing Julia, and the purple one representing Nina. We place Andrew in the middle, then suddenly, the 2 black locks over the trash can and chest disappear, and the soup is now brewing. We can pick up Mom and Dad and throw them into the stew. Now, we can lock away Nina in her chest and throw Julia in the trash, all instances being representative of their eventual fates. Not that Julia is dead though, but she definitely got thrown to the side. A trail of stars lead to the cage hanging above, and we place and lock Andrew inside of it. And thus, a red path leads to a window, or a picture frame. Here we have a painting of Mom and Dad, symbolized by the overly sized top hat and white dress. Beneath them lays flowers and a dagger. Placing down the flowers unlock the door, but the knife doesn't. Opening the next door, we can see Ashley, Andrew, and Julia all framed on 2 separate paintings. Now this is where the other endings take place. Both doors can be opened with the placing of the full heart, broken heart, and sunshine in the corresponding places. For the first ending in question, we're going to place the sunshine, broken heart, and full heart. This represents Ashley and Andrew having a healthy sibling relationship, and which in result enables her to heartbreak, since she sees Andrew actually get to be with Julia. The other combination you will wait and fucking see, you absolute freak. You know what it is. I know why you're here. This seems like the same path to take, the game says. Entering, we are shown a multitude of ghosts. We can collect all these ghosts through a variety of puzzles, and then after collecting the last one, a red gradient ghost appears. Ashley talks to it like she already knows it, and judging by the green colored dots, we can assume this is Andrew. Well, time to take him too. He freaks out a bit, but we assure him that we're joking. Let's get out of here before it finds us. Maybe she's referring to the demon. On that note, we wake up. Seems like Andrew wasn't able to fall asleep like that after all. We freak out a bit, but then he comes back in and assures us he's still here. Don't just run off like that on us. Anyways, he asks if we saw a vision, but we really didn't. At least not one that the actual characters themselves comprehend. To her, it was just collecting ghosts at the end of the day. Nothing about getting caught, thankfully. We ask how he's doing since he wasn't able to sleep, and he just says getting caught red-handed. Not killing our parents itself. He shoves off our question and insists we get ready to dump the bones. After getting to the hill, we drop the skulls again just like the other route, although in this one, he seems significantly less threatening. We sit there in silence after this act of stupidity. He says he hates us, but it wasn't our fault it was packaged badly. He says he doesn't care and to just pick him up already. Very different from the last ending. We head back over to the bridge again, drop the bones, throw the skulls, and there they go. Should we say a prayer or something? He says not to get too sanctimonious here. Although off color, we insist of feeling like we should say something? Huh. This is out of character for Ashley. Say something in order to put it past us. For closure. Closure for what? He asks. But it was just a thought. Andrew comments he's starting to think that we want him to be upset. We insist that we're just worried. We don't care, but he might, or he did. He gives it thought for a second and decides to give his eulogy. He says the following. Thanks for giving me life. It's been awful. And thanks for giving Ashley life. She too has been awful. Hey, what the hell? Some eulogy this is, but continue. He proceeds. Sorry for selling your souls. That was very rude of us. But you sold ours first, so that makes it even, doesn't it? And that's all he has to say. Maybe he really has changed, we think to ourselves. He comments that we seem a bit down and asks if we want to say anything. It's not that. He asks what is it, but we just avoid the question for now. So what do? He says that he doesn't know and that there's always a possibility he overlooked something. Yeah, you probably did. Probably fucked up real bad. He thanks us for our great reassurance, and then we assure him back by saying we'll be fine as long as we got the trinket. Anyways, what should we do now? Andrew says to leave it all to us, but we insist on him planning it. It catches him a little off guard, but he doesn't deny it. He brings up that we have money, however, we still need new identities. Can't we buy fake IDs? People do that, right? He asks us to point to the nearest person we know that does that. Fair point. But what about the cultist spot? That's a sketchy place full of sketchy people. Let's go take a look-see. Andrew thinks it's a bad idea to go somewhere near where we killed a man, but that was also the only cash-only motel we could find anyways. He gives in, but insists on leaving the car in some random parking lot, since there's probably an investigation going on. Yeah, whatever, let's go. Andrew lights his cigarette, however he notices something on his palm. A mole? Has that always been there? Are you coming or not, Andrew? He says he's gonna finish that cigarette first. Waste of time and money. Great. Andrew says glad to hear it. Looks down at his palm and sees a strange eye reminiscent of the demon's eye. And that ends episode 2. But not yet, because now it's that time. You've been waiting for the analysis of this one, haven't you? Placing the heart first, sunshine, then heartbreak results in the other door being unlocked. The paintings describe us being happy and enjoying Andrew's heartbreak between him and Julia. Now, it seems like a questionable ass idea, bruh. Think twice. After opening the door, we are greeted with a dark room of paintings. Once we pick up a key, we can open Andrew's cage and take him with us. Placing him on pedestals changes each painting in the room. Top right painting doesn't hold any piece to the puzzle, as it's just titled Siblings, and is Ashley riding on Andrew's back. The first changeable painting we're gonna look at is titled Parents. Placing Andrew changes this painting from our mother holding our infant self to Andrew bursting out offering us the preservative-filled lemon muffin. The next painting is titled Classmates. Once Andrew is placed, it changes from us being with Nina and Julia to Andrew either giving us a high five or holding our hand. The final painting is titled Friends. This changes from Ashley and Julia hanging out into Ashley and Andrew hanging out instead. The room turns a dark red, then the demon shows up in the middle of the room. We walk up to him only to be shown a forthcoming vision. We are presented with Andrew smoking a cigarette, seemingly quite quiet. We offer Penny for his thoughts. No deal, however, but we want at least one word. Mortifying indeed, guys. You got the fucking ending you wanted. Wow, they had intercourse. Is this what you were waiting for? All this effort spilled into the rest of this shit, and I bet 90% of all the viewers are gonna be skipping towards this section of the fucking video. We go on to tell him that he's contradicting himself, as he didn't seem that mortified a moment ago. We think you mean gratifying. He says that big words just don't fit in our mouth. I ain't even reading that one, bro. You get it. You can read it. He gets a laugh off this, and we mock him, saying that he sure is so mortified. His excuse is that he's easy to distract. Some guilty conscience you got. Yeah, really. Andrew then pulls us by the choker and leans in to tell us that his is better than ours. Come here, you, he says, and we insist on him being gentle with whatever he does. We wake up. Did Andrew see it too? We look over to our right to see his face clearly flustered. Perhaps he did. He's noticed that we've woken up, and that's a way to say hello, I guess. He stumbles to tell us good morning, or evening, or whatever. Did you get a vision? Probably not, he says. Nice save. Really? So do you see dreams like that often then? He roars that he doesn't. So it's made clear he really did see it. Quite the vision, hi, saying that shit. He tries to convince himself that it wasn't a vision and that the demon is just fucking with us. Yeah, that's it. Surely. We tried to be cheap using 2 visions for the price of 1, so he's giving us a fake one. He rambles on. Oh, please. He copes some more, insisting that perhaps it really is our trinket and we were just right about him not using it. Yeah, keep selling it, dude. We're totally buying it. He insults us, saying, screw you. Yeah, you just might. He tells us to fuck off and asks if we honestly think that. We mock him and ask him, you tell me. He tries to go on another rant, but we just don't feel like hearing it. You just murdered your own parents, yet getting laid is the thing you're flipping out about? And you tell us that we're messed up. What a joke. Andrew's in utter disbelief, having an insane mental turmoil about the incestuous vision between him and his sister. He asks, we're not like that, right? I don't really know, man. Our bond is very fucking strange. We just come off that way sometimes? How so? A tad jealous. We fuck with him and ask if that's wishful thinking, and bring up that he's got a jealous streak himself. He comments and says that's wishful thinking, but there's arguable evidence that backs up Ashley's claim. He asks again just for security. That's never gonna come to that, right? This lists up 2 options, never and never say never. Choosing never just brings us back to the sibling bond route. So we're going down the full love route. Never say never, Andrew. He flips his shit at this and clearly doesn't want to joke about it. Why? Are we getting your hopes up? Or maybe something else? We then go on to ask if the vision got him, and he's walking away, avoiding the question and in an effort to end the conversation. Why is this such an issue to him? We've done a lot worse shit together. I mean, again, another good point. Him throwing a fit about this compared to first degree and premeditated murder is kind of crazy. We sweep it under the rug and move on. Now everything else is the exact same up until it comes to throwing the skulls. Asking how to make the skulls sink, Andrew says to chuck them like usual. However, we shove one into his torso and make a challenge with him. Bet we can throw it further than you? He accepts this challenge and assures us that we can. We begin our countdown to throw, and he knocks us to the side, causing our throw to spiral and fail. Looks like he won. You filthy cheat. That's not fair. We never said no pushing. We get up in his face, ready to hit him. Well, here's your prize, a fist to the face. Although he takes the incentive to defuse the situation by forcing a hug and thanking us for it. We roar at him, then sit in silence for a bit. We finally decide to bring up what's been on our mind. You're different. He asks if he's no fun anymore, but it's more like, have you been sleeping lately? He asks if we're looking for a fight, thinking that we're talking about the vision from earlier, but we mean generally. The insomnia and nightmares, Andrew. Those. He takes time to think and says that's actually been decent recently considering the scenario. Unexpectedly, you seem to be doing just fine. This makes us ponder for a bit. Andrew says not to be happy for him or anything. Andy is all grown and doesn't need us anymore. Andrew goes out and says that Andy is dead, so he doesn't need anything. This reality hits us hard. This really isn't Andy anymore. There's some silence with subtle tension behind it. Andrew changes the topic, bringing up the trinket and how we learned that we're the only ones that can use it. We think to ourselves, we don't know if we really are the only one. However, it shows us one way to keep him around. It sucks that gave us a vision like that instead of something helpful, he comments. So then we ask him what should we do now? Everything past this is the exact same as the sibling ending, leaving off with the strange eye and marking the real end of episode 2. So, let's summarize everything about this episode. We began our escape from the quarantined apartments and managed to find a motel that accepts cash only, although it took a thorough search. When we eventually fall asleep, the demon was proved not to be lying, as we saw a vision of us being assassinated in our sleep. In order to prove this discovery, the siblings hide out and wait for the hooded man to see if it is really true. While waiting, we discovered that this whole cultist thing extends further than just the apartments, even having entire sketchy underground meetings dedicated to it. After investigation, we also find out that we can summon demons quite well. It managed to summon something that was completely different than the little guy from earlier, the entity known as Lord Unknown. This will probably be important when episode 3 is released, so it's worth mentioning. It's also worth mentioning that Andrew, for a mere second, seemingly summons the demon in his own volition during the summoning, asking the demon not to kill him or his sister, then immediately after it introduces itself. However, the action is pinned on Ashley being able to do it. This could just be a theory, but with some progress reports of episode 3, there's a possibility that this section holds real weight. Now, the siblings can't just lollygag back into their room since the assassin never actually left the room. Ashley is confident that he's waiting in the apartment until we're unsuspecting, so they come up with a plan to lure the guy out into a park and shoot him. This ends up being successful in the most Ashley way possible. After taking the man's car, we discover that the hit on our heads was indeed assigned by a specific person. Interestingly enough, the documents also discuss a soda company, the same soda company we saw advertisements for. Moving on, we decide to rob our parents' house. After arguing then falling asleep in the car, we make another deal with the demon, offering 2 souls to recharge the trinket, the 2 souls being our our parents. Another flashback in this dream gives us more insight into why Ashley is the way she is. Andrew gave her affection nobody else would, and was there for her in her saddest moments. He would go out of his way to spend his very last penny to make her happy, and was willing to confront their parents about the unequal treatment too. She also had a rebel attitude with interests, such as watching gory movies, probably due to her disdain of authority since she doesn't respect her parents that much for treating her the way they did. After waking up, we managed to find their house, and discovered that they lived a real nice life. It's a rich neighborhood with social gatherings, nameplates on doors, and even backyard gardens. We climb in through the window with the intent to rob and find more documents in their bedroom dresser. They hold the death certificates of Ashley and Andrew Graves, signifying once and for all that our mother did indeed have something to do with selling us off to this organ harvest scheme. On that note, our mom comes home early, and Andrew spends the entire day gassing her up and acting like a good boy until nightfall hits. Mom allows us to stay the night as long as we sleep separately because she knows shit get wicked apparently. Andrew has a dream where he's talking to the cultist neighbor from the apartment, who has much more exquisite vocabulary due to all the poetry reading. After getting this frying pan, we are sent deeper into our minds to fully compartmentalize our past. We find Leyley, who assists us in lighting the pathways to traverse through. One of these lit up rooms being Julia's room. Here we learn that Andrew has had a history of bailing and focusing more on his sister than his own girlfriend, which subsequently ended in a breakup. That and the countless harassment voicemails from Ashley. All three of these rooms involve compartmentalizing something huge for Andrew. Our childhood, Andrew and Leyley, Julia, the murderers, and rituals. After we're finished compartmentalizing those three things, we throw a limb into our original apartment freezer, and Nina's crate is put right in front of us. Now we can compartmentalize the entire episode of The Very, Very Quiet. Here we get the aftermath of the killing and the realization of what they've done. They are terrified of being split apart and getting arrested, or more rather Andrew is, so they carry her body in a tarp, bury it, and let it be. Throughout this entire sequence, Ashley's manipulation is made quite apparent through lines indicating that everything is his fault, and that if Andrew doesn't listen to what she says, she'll ruin his life. She doesn't have anything to lose, since she doesn't have any friends or family who care. Cutting further into the future, we are sent back into our apartment. Leyley comes into the room, and after learning about Andrew's depression with the murder, she mistakes it for him still being attached to her. This causes Andrew to consider stabbing her with a knife. On the way to grab the knife, however, we also learned that our dad was barely in our life seemingly, and was working so much that he didn't even know his own child's names. He's also implied to be a little suicidal. We decide to not kill Leyley, but instead make a blood pact to never speak about it to anyone. And Leyley in return asks for us to never let another girl steal our gaze. The dream is abruptly interrupted by Ashley, however, and tries to convince Andrew to kill our parents right now and to wake up. It works, and after some totally normal physical sibling banter, our mom walks in on it. She wants to talk about something without Ashley around, but stops as she realizes Ashley's there. It looks pretty wrong, so right as she's about to comment on how it better not be what it looks like, she's held at gunpoint and sent to the basement. Dad is too, after he for some reason believes Andrew's getting rope out of the closet to fuck himself. After going down the stairs to check on mom, he's held by a cleaver to the neck, and we are given this legendary line. We tie them up and steal their money from the bank. Leaving Ashley to stay represents distrust in Andrew, not believing that he can stay there himself, but we can get the same route unlocked even if we trust him, as long as we accept their olive branch offer. In the decay route, Andrew feels stuck and has given up his life basically. He knows that it's all going to be Ashley anyways, so it's whatever anymore. What he says doesn't matter, and everything just gets used against him anyways. Ashley enjoys the willingness at first, until she is showed in a vision that Andrew isn't too far away from killing her himself. She wants Andrew gone as fast as possible, so then Andy can be the only one to stay. He doesn't want to kill his parents and is disgusted with himself, and he doesn't want to live with this dynamic. This ending is a whole lot of arguing, tension, and depression. Meanwhile, the burial route is quite the opposite. Instead of having distrust in Andrew, the siblings actually form a bond during these pleasant times of committing parenticide. Andrew is much happier in this route and has effectively compartmentalized all of his traumas in a similar way to Ashley. He's willing to crack jokes and have fun, all while the midst of eating his own parents. He dismembers them in a nonchalant fashion, which unsettles Ashley. No matter if you take the incestuous route or the siblings route, he's happy. However, Ashley is slightly bothered both ways. She knows that Andy is dead and that this is now Andrew. He's not as marshmallow-like as he used to be and is his own person who takes the initiative. He's independent now, and she doesn't like it. This ending also results in an eye forming in the center of Andrew's palm, and that's where the episode leaves off. The eye obviously has something to do with the demon, but we can't confidently say exactly what it is without another episode for context. There is no answer to this mystery at this time, and although there's progress reports on episode 3, all just speculation at this point in time. The episode is seemingly close to being finished, them being on their final stages of development with a slight delay. You can sit and wonder until then if you'll get your ending of rivalry, sibling bonds, or incestuous love. We'll see eventually. We'll see.